Alright, hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all of you. Please invite your friends. And today we have a very important topic. You know, the Muhammadan, they have tons of videos speaking about Muhammad. And for sure, all those videos are showing you how amazing this man is. I mean, come on. You have to accept that he is the best of the best. If you try to hide away from the truth, that Muhammad was the best of mankind, you will find a wall of videos in YouTube getting you busted. Actually, it's not only a wall, I mean, it's a long wall in YouTube. And all the videos made by Muslims are very truthful about Prophet Muhammad. So I said to myself, okay, well, they make videos about Muhammad. What those videos says? Shall we take a look? Let us take a look. Not this one now. Hold on. Not this one now. Hold on. Not this one now. Hold on. So come on. Which one then? Come on. Let me see. Hold on. Which one we should take first? Okay, let us take this one, because you see when they start talking about Prophet Muhammad, inside me I feel like electricity, brother, because it's just amazing. All right, so here we have an example, a video. It's called, hold on, now there's a commercial begging for money to build the Islamic Center as usual. Okay, 10 facts about Prophet Muhammad. What is the 10 facts?
Around the world. But who exactly is the Prophet Muhammad, and what are some of the...
I like when he say Muhammad. I mean, come on, man. You sound like you are doing something. Go ahead.
Key events in his life that have made him such a central figure within the Muslim religion. Hey guys.
I mean, look at this idiot. Muhammad became a what make him, I mean, this guy is the maker of Islam, and what make him essential, you know. This is a very wonderful video from the beginning, you know, genius.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and also welcome.
Your name is Lori. We're in a truck. You're a truck loaded with poo-poo.
To any of you who are watching FTD Facts for the first time.
Okay,
in this episode, I'll be exploring 10 surprising and interesting facts about the Prophet Muhammad. So make sure you watch all the way until the end, because I don't want you to miss any of these.
We cannot miss any, for sure. Come on. Good. Go, tell us first one.
Details. Muhammad is the central prophet and final prophet of Islam.
We don't know that. Thank you for telling us. I'm really surprised. So this is the surprising fact. I'm surprised. You know, when I make a video like those videos, you see them in YouTube, the funny, stupid ones, like somebody watching a video about something like miracle in the Quran, and he opens his mouth like, whoa, you know, look, I don't know. The first reaction for first time Filipino eating hamburger. And that guy, he opened the camera and like he's now biting hamburger, American hamburger. You have to be careful, it's American hamburger. And like the camera is on him, and like millions of people have to see this. I mean, come on. The first time a Filipino eating American hamburger. So now this is the first time we see the 10 surprising facts about Muhammad. And what the first one, he's a prophet. Okay. I'm surprised.
He was born in Mecca
What the heck? He's born in Mecca too? Okay. I'm surprised.
in 570, and most of his early life was
Are you sure it's 570?
spent as a merchant. At the age of
He was a merchant? Are you sure too?
40, that's when he began to have revelations
At the age of 40, he got become. Oh, that is number 10. And this is surprising facts. What are the facts?
from Allah that became the basis for the Quran.
Shouldn't you tell us who is Allah? He received revelation from Allah. No, Muhammad, he received revelation from Jibreel. No, that one from Allah. Where Allah? Allah never spoke to Muhammad. Continue.
As well as a foundation of the Islamic religion. By 630, he had unified most of Arabia under a single religion. And the Prophet Muhammad had a huge influence in the world, and we have evidence of this because...
Okay, no, get the crap. You are a stupid idiot, and you have nothing to say, just to make videos and get the support of Muslims so you can make money from the commercial. Let us show you
at the time
the true facts about Prophet Muhammad. Number one fact, and nobody can deny it. Muhammad needed a plastic surgery to fix his stupidity. Let us go to the hadith. That is the true facts. Everything else they say to you is stupid. And this is a fact reported by Muhammad. Here Muhammad is telling us a story about Allah sending two angels. And those two angels took Muhammad and they practiced a surgery for him. Yesterday in the previous video we spoke about this, but for sure for those who are here first time we will talk about it again. Now, the story here, it says, just to make it short and because we have to make a review of the details, that there is two angels came to Muhammad. One of them is Jibreel. And those angels took him, you know, and put him in a table beside the well of Zamzam. And then, from then, Jibreel took charge. So now in charge Jibreel, Mr. Jibreel. Okay, what Jibreel do? Like there's many things you know about Jibreel, that he's an angel. Jibreel is the pizza boy. He delivered message and even including dishes to Muhammad. If you remember, when Muhammad, he says, I was the most weak person in sexual intercourse. What Allah he did? He called Jibreel to deliver for him a dish of kufta, sheikh kebab, you know. Muhammad, he ate it and his ping, you know, his penis was the most powerful man. He have the power of 40 men of people of heaven, which means 4,000 men of earth. Because every man in heaven, his penis will have the power of 100 men. Come on, Allah is all capable. You know, He's Almighty. He can make your penis have such a power. So the Prophet Muhammad, after he received the dish from Jibreel, he got the power of 4,000 men. And this is very, very impressive. You have to admit. Only Allah can do those things. You know. So Jibreel, he brought the dish, and Jibreel brought Quran, and Jibreel brought other things. And those things come in dishes too. Let us see. So Jibreel took charge of him, and Jibreel cut open the body of Muhammad. Here Jibreel became a surgeon, Dr. Jibreel. He's an angel, yes. He bring food to Muhammad, yes. He deliver Quran to Muhammad, exactly, absolutely. But now Jibreel today have a different mission. He is Dr. Jibreel. Allah, he sent Jibreel to do a surgery, and he cut the chest of Muhammad, cut it from here to here. Different hadith says from there to his pubic area. And you know, by the way, I understand. I mean, you have to go to the testicle of Muhammad to fix everything. Obviously, everything is messed up. So he cut from here to there. And here in the hadith translation saying between the throat and the middle of the chest, which is really absolutely false. You know, it's cut all the way to his balls, if he have any. And in the middle of his chest, okay, and then he took all the material out of his chest. Here we have to stop. Because you see, when you take the heart of somebody out, he die. Even if you take the liver, still he would die. I mean, what do you mean you took all the material out? So here we notice that Muhammad, he was the first object which lived by solar battery. Obviously, Jibreel, he hooked Muhammad to solar power, like he have a solar panel, you know, and he hooked Muhammad in somewhere, you know, whatever extension he have, or hole, you know. So, because I want to know how this guy now is having all his material in his chest out, and Muhammad is the one is telling us what's happening. I mean, this guy, his eyes is open. And here we notice that when the Western, they come with this stupid system claiming that this is their like a discovery, the fact it was Muhammad obviously was living by the support of solar system, and this is what make Muhammad a solar prophet. Actually, the Quran says that Prophet Muhammad, he is a sirajan muniran. Sirajan mean he's a light. This is why the Shia, they say, based on this verse, that the family of Muhammad, they are not a human, they are made of light, and they used to be, you know, they used to be in stars in the forehead of Allah. If you go to chapter 33, verse number 46. So Muhammad is a lamp. And if you think about it, now Muhammad, he is a lamp, but now Jibreel, he took all the material from his heart, from his chest, his heart, his stomach, everything is out, you know. And not only that, he washed it with Zamzam. And here we notice something very important. You see, most of you, because you don't concentrate, you don't notice how important this is. Here it's proving that the material of Prophet Muhammad in his chest is different from our material. Because you can take it out and you can wash it with the water of Zamzam. Zamzam, according to the BBC study, it's a poisoned water. Each time you drink a cup of Zamzam, the Muslim, even they sue the BBC for making such a report exposing the stupidity of Zamzam water, which is supposedly holy. Each time you drink a cup of Zamzam, as a drinking, I think, cigarette or 2 cigarettes or a box of cigarette, I'm not sure. You can check the article. So now Muhammad stuff, his whatever he's having the trunk in his chest, all of it is out, and now Jibreel, he took it off for a reason. And this is what is making this story extremely smart. Actually, the story must be, I mean, Muhammad must be a genius to tell us such a story, because now look at this. The guy is in a surgery. The angel is taking off his heart, his kidney, his liver, his stomach, his balls, whatever, and still Muhammad is watching. How he can see there? I mean, you are laying down. Oh, he left him in the front of him. Maybe Jibreel, he was showing Muhammad exactly what he's taking off. Hey, Muhammad, this is your heart. Okay, Muhammad, this is your liver. Okay, Muhammad, this is your stomach. And Muhammad have a very good memory, you know. So he remember all those details. So then he washed it with Zamzam. And here we need to understand that why he washed it in Zamzam. Why he did not go to a faucet in a bathroom somewhere. Why it was Zamzam? There's a very, very important reason. Because Zamzam is a holy water of Allah. Zamzam. Even the name, look, Zam and Zam. 2 Zam together. So it's not like 1 Zam. It is 2 Zam. And 2 Zam, that's mean like when you say H2O. So this is the H2. Okay? The O is something you say later when you see like, wow, like, you know, so Zamzam, you know? So he washed it with Zamzam and with his hand. Look here, we notice, come on, look at the details. Jibreel did not wash it with laundry machine. No, brother. He did not ask the other guy to wash it. No, brother. Jibreel is washing it with his own hands. You know what? I was afraid that he will do like those women when they do make wine. They put the things, or like in the villages, they put the laundry in the dish and they step on it, you know, like step in it, step in it, step in it. So that will make it like, you know, get it cleaner. So Jibreel did not do that. He did not step on the organs of Muhammad. He washed it with his hands. The funny is, Jibreel, he have 600 wings, but he have hands, you know. I don't know. It looked like just Jibreel. He's a transformer. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? He have 600 wings. Look, I mean 600 wings. So now what happened? The 600 wings, they became 600 hands. It's just a question, you know. I mean, you don't need to. If you are a Muslim, okay, I'm sure you have the answer. The scholars will tell you what happened. So the guy, he has 600 hands or 600 wings? Maybe because I am weak in Arabic, as the Muslim they say, maybe wings in Arabic is hands. So now if I go in the Middle East and if I see, like, you know, a chicken, I can say to the chicken, let us shake hands. You know? I mean, chicken, hey, can we shake hands, you know? So Muhammad, he is a person, he claimed things doesn't make sense with the previous things. When he want Jibreel as a man, when he want Jibreel as a person with 600 wings. And by the way, when he have 600 wings, what about the rest of the description? And what happened? His face is a face of what? So he have 600 wings, but he have a body of a man, elephant. Don't ask questions. Muhammad talking, everybody have to shut up. Now we go back to the hadith, which is a very authentic hadith, you know, and this prophet never, you see, the prophet never tell a lie. You have to always put that in your mind. If you want to live, at least, you know. I mean, if you don't want to go in the park. By the way, I heard that the Abdul who attacked our sister, what her name, Hatun, he attacked her because she was place or wearing a cartoon something. You know, I have a message for you, Abdul. If you ever attack anyone again, I promise you, we will put the cartoon of Muhammad in every video. If you think you can intimidate us, if you think you can scare us, if you think you can stop us from saying what we believe by your stupid violence, you are mistaken. And not only men, actually many Christians agree that we should do that. So you will create a wave of cartoon for Muhammad by your stupid action. Do violence again and you will see. And actually not only that, if you do it again, I'm thinking to make a special series of cartoon. It's a message. Take it or leave it. Coward who attack a woman or run potato. At least stand up there. Muta boy. We go back here. So now the Prophet of Allah, who is upon the man, about what? Upon the man, was washed by Zamzam. Okay. You know, I ask myself, I mean, I don't even know how to say this word correctly. Excuse my English. You know, I mean, you know, English is not my first language. Even though I speak, by the way, I am the one who taught Shakespeare how to speak English, because Shakespeare is an Arab, by the way, and his real name is Sheikh Isper. I'm telling you, you know, his real name is Sheikh Isper. And I am the one who taught him English. Now, let us go to the abandonment. Okay. What is the abandonment? I mean, I want to see the abandonment. What is the abandonment? Let me see. I'm going to look in Google. Which part is the abandonment? Abandonment. I don't know which one. Which one? Look here. See, I'm trying to find out the location of this thing, because obviously it's important for Jibreel. But which one? Anyone here is a doctor? The only doctor we have here, I mean, true doctor, is Dr. Prophet Muhammad. Where is the abandonment? I don't see the abandonment. Where? I cannot find it. Hold on, let me see. Abandonment. I mean, those, I don't see one single picture saying which one. So is that the green one there? I don't know. I mean, what does that mean? Hold on. Okay, let's see. Here we have. Oh, I guess maybe abandonment in English mean everything, the whole thing connected together. What is abandonment? Let me translate the word. I don't know really what the word means, because you know, in the translation they are getting you whatever they like. A body space between the thorax and chest. It's not a part really. Commonly called the Billy. This is the Billy, Billy Jones. And I was looking for a part. I thought it's the name of a part or something. No, brother. So he took everything there. Look. Jibreel, he took everything there. Everything, brother, everything. You see all those things in the screen? The answer, Jibreel, he took it all, brother. And now you can imagine the smell. And now Jibreel is squeezing all the poo-poo inside, you know, and he pushing it out and everything came out. But I have a question to the Muslims. What is the purpose of this abandonment washing? Any Muslim can abudo men. Because stop looking at it. Come on, why you are laughing at my English? Shame on you. Okay, I'm going to. You know what? There's a person, he laughed at me. He woke up in the morning, look like me. You want to do? You want to have this happen to you? You don't do that. So look, what is making me really thinking deep? So focus with me with the deep thing. Why Jibreel is digging deep in the stomach of Muhammad and what he is supposedly trying to clean out there, like what we have there. I thought about what happened in Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Maybe there's some radiation. No, there was no at that time. Okay. Maybe Muhammad have some worms are eating his faith, because worms, they live there. Maybe. So the angel is cleaning what? If there is any Muslim can tell us what was the purpose of this? Are you trying to imply? Excuse my language. Why we have? Why? Where is everybody? Huh? Why? Where is it? I think I made a mistake yesterday. I told you I will come Friday, right? And then it turned to be it's today. Unbelievable. Never make an appointment with an Arab guy. Here we go. Friday became Thursday. Thursday became Friday. Yeah, we learned that from Prophet Muhammad. He said the judgment day is near, and that's 1400 years ago. So why the Prophet, he is facing such a surgery, and why the angel is washing the material, as the hadith says, inside? Any Muslim can help us? To purify the Prophet. Oh, this is Christopher, he is a Muslim. He don't like to use a Muslim name, but he's a Muslim. Here we have a Muslim in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Christopher. I don't know why you call yourself a Christopher, but you are a Muslim, my friend. Shame on you. So look what he said. To purify the Prophet. That's deep. You know, I don't know why I cannot think straight like you. I mean, obviously there is something missing in my thinking. How you were able to come to this conclusion, Christopher? So to purify the Prophet, you have to wash his stomach? What about his anus? I want you to think about it, because if you wash the stomach and the anus is not clean, I mean, there's many things will be there. Don't tell me no. So now we wash the stomach and all the material in his stomach. By the way, the abdomen go all the way connected to his anus. Do you think he took it off too? And why he need to purify his stomach? Mr. Christopher? Who is a Muslim, he agree that actually he is saying that what Muslim believe, yeah, that they purify the Prophet. Okay, so now we have to purify the Prophet by washing his stomach. It is metaphorical? Well, if it's a metaphorical, that means all the story is false. Because there's a huge difference between happened and a parable. Was this is a parable? No. Muhammad talking about two angels, they come and they did a real surgery. Even the Muslim, they claim that they saw the stitches. And those surgeries happened to Muhammad twice. Once when he was a kid, supposedly, and once when he was adult. So when you say it's a metaphorical, we laugh. Because your Prophet said, and by the way, your name is Black Dog. Don't you know what the Prophet said about Black Dog? I mean, you are a Muslim. And you are calling yourself a black dog. Do you know that this is the most enemy to Allah, the black dog? You know, I don't know what to say. I mean, I learned a lot of things from your prophet, which is amazing prophet, by the way. Don't take me wrong, please. But when I learned that the black dog is the biggest enemy to Allah, and he is shaitan, you know, always I was thinking, why the black dog is black? First, I thought he is dyeing his hair, because there's no way the dog is black. Then it hit me, Prophet Muhammad hadith, right? Then call of duty. But this is not about call of duty, my friend. Don't talk about call of duty. Don't take me there. There's a hadith says that the Prophet قَدْ عَلَّمَنَا كُلَّ شَيْء حَتَّى الْخَرَاء. The Prophet, he taught us everything, including how to shit. Do you want me to show you the hadith, Christopher? In the Old Testament, those are savage people. So he was telling them, you go and you do your business away from the camp. That's all. But your prophet, according to you Muslims, he used to sit and you sit around him and he teach you how to do poo-poo. Christopher, don't go there. But anyway, the black dog is a shaitan, brother. Since when? Any Muslim can tell us why the black dog is a shaitan? Scientifically, this is true. I mean, when scientists, they open the abandonment of dog, he is black. What they find inside, what they found inside? Evil. This guy, he eat evil. He don't eat like chicken and meat like everybody, hamburger. No. Black dog are shaitan, brother. Science, this is pure science. So Muhammad, he says 3 things, 4 things, 5 things will interrupt a Muslim prayer. Okay, what is that, brother? What is that? A woman, a donkey, and a black dog. Brother, and why black dog? Because a black dog is a shaitan. He is not only shaitan, he is the devil himself. Like he's not like a baby shaitan of a shaitan. He is the devil himself. And this is what Prophet Muhammad, you see this guy, he makes surprising fact about Prophet Muhammad. This is a surprising fact, that Muhammad is the first one who discovered that the black color have to do with evil. And the dog, because he's black now, you see how racist this Muhammad is? The poor black dog, just because he's black, he is the devil. He is the devil. Not devilish. He is the devil, brother. Discovery. Okay, now we go back to Christopher and his friend trying to defend his prophet. And you mentioned about the poo-poo. Let me, I will type the word shit, excuse my language, in the screen. Here we go. I did not search for a specific hadith. I just typed there the word al-khara. Khara means shit, excuse me. All right. A man, he came to a Muslim at the time of Muhammad and he said to him, I see you're a friend, and this is me, Muhammad, teaching you even how to do shit. You see here, they say experiment. It doesn't, you know, it says literally in Arabic shit. And then the guy, he said, yes, the prophet, he'd do. And he taught us to use 3 rocks. Hey, Abdul, do you have 3 rocks in your bathroom, or you are using the American toilet papers? Yeah. Chapter 50, verse number 38, God created a yam, proof of a miracle. Hey, we go there. Just remind me after we finish the topic, Christopher. Please promise me you will remind me. When I say I'm done with this, remind me, Christopher. You know, remind me of this, so we go back and we laugh. So, you know, Christopher is a very specialist person, him and other Muslims. We talk about how this happened, and they talk about miracle in the Quran. This is a miracle, don't you see? Shaitan is a black dog. And isn't it, this is a proven a miracle for you? You are trying to change our topic, don't you? So this now, they wash his abdomen because obviously Muhammad is full of poo-poo. And they wash it with Zamzam water with his own hand till he cleans the inside of his body. Which means not only he cleaned the material was there, took it off. No, he put water, wash in the belly of the beast. Then here we have the cake. This is the cake time. And then a golden tray containing a golden bowl full of belief. Hold on. As long you see, usually if you search in Google, you find anything. I search for faith dish. Okay, hold on, let's go to Unsplash. And I will type the word dish. Okay. And then the word dish, like I found some food. So the angel brother, he did not come from Allah with dish of food. This time. Previous dish, he brought shish kebab. Muhammad, he ate it to fix his penis. You remember that? Now the angel, he brought a dish, and the dish is full of faith and wisdom. I mean, I don't know how dumb is this story is, but you tell me. So now we will give a chance to the Muslim Christopher and the other guy and Muhammad Ishmael and all the Muslims here to tell us why the angel is bringing a dish full of faith and wisdom. Why Allah he sent this dish? Because remember, the angel is doing service to Allah. It's not his choice. Why the angel he brought a dish of faith and wisdom? Any Muslim can help us? Anyone? You know, when I was a kid, I told my mom, I don't want to eat. She said, so Hassan, what do you want? I said, I want a dish of wisdom. She said to me, this is dumb. You know, she offended me. You know, since when I decide not to eat her food. You know, that's it. True story, Sahih Bukhari. Any Muslim can tell us why Allah is sending a dish, and this dish is full of belief. I want to stop with this belief thing. A dish full of belief. Believe me, this is a true story. Any Muslim can tell us? Listen, I don't know how many females we have in this room. Now, Muslim, they claim that women, they have half a brain and men have supposedly full brain, whatever, you know. But the reality is a different story, you know. A man, he see a short skirt, he lose all his brain. Anyway, so if you have a husband and he have, you know, his brain is not working, you know, I mean, or he don't have a belief, he's an atheist. You know, you never know. I got a recipe for you. Try to find what was in that dish. A dish of belief. Your husband eat it, became a believer. Bingo. And if your husband is a fool, it says, look, a dish full of full. It's not half full. I mean, look at the details, brother. It's not half full. It's full. This is what I like about Islam. It's full of details. To clean him from impurity. Look like Muhammad Ishmael, he received the question 2 hours ago and now he found the answer an hour after. Hey Muhammad Ishmael, you remind me of someone. He heard a joke like a week before and he was laughing today. Now you tell us this answer? You are late, my friend. Okay. So guys, why the Prophet, his abandonment taken off of his body to wash it, Muhammad Ishmael, he gave us a clear answer. To clean him out of any impurities. Now Muhammad have nothing is impure inside him. Before that moment, Muhammad full of shit. This is what you are saying to me. And not only he is full of it, he needed a special surgery to clean it. Like you cannot take him like a drug. He ate it and he go to the bathroom like it come out with diarrhea. No. It is so big and so tough to the point the angel have to cut open his belly and take all the material. Thank you, Muhammad Ishmael. What I would do without you, Muhammad Ishmael? Honestly. I mean, how we can live without you, brother? Thank you for your wisdom. It's amazing wisdom. I need a dumb admin to be in my chat because we don't have any until now. Do you like to be an admin, Muhammad Ishmael? Like the dumb admin? You just confirm to us that your prophet is full of it. It's a metaphorical. Look at those guys. They open his chest, he took the material, he cleaned it with water. Water is a metaphorical. Is cutting the chest, is that a real story or fake story? You Muslims believe this has happened for real. So how is metaphorical? Anything is embarrassing to the Muhammadan, they say it's a metaphorical. Do you remember the guy who called me 3 days ago? He said to me, I saw the video, you lied about the penis standing in the Quran. When I showed him the reference, he said, you have your religion, I have mine. He ran away. And he used the word metaphorical too. But the second we show it to him, it's a metaphorical. So they cut his chest, they brought a dish, they washed it with Zamzam. It's a metaphorical. So why the other guy, he says, to clean it from impurity, if it's metaphorical? This is how much confused they are. They cannot defend it. Stupid story. Okay, we continue. This can be a metaphorical if it was supposed to not happen for real. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Muhammad, maybe he saw a dream. But this is not what Muhammad claimed. He claimed they come for real. And Muslims, they say that they left the stitches in his chest. And then, and dish of full of belief and wisdom was brought. And then Jibreel stuffed his chest and throat, blood vessels. Here we need to stop. He did not stuff the faith and the wisdom everywhere. You see, I learned, like when I read, I have to be careful, you know, especially like history books or religious books, you know, blah, 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 you know. I'm not good reading mathematics. Like, as an example, for me as an Arab, like the Muslim, they say, especially Arab Christian, like the Christian, they say 1 + 1 + 1 equal to 1. Zakir Naik, he said that. Brother and sister, the reason we cannot teach the Christian mathematics in our school, because how you can let a Christian teach you that 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 1? And the Christians like what the heck? How we can answer this now? We are in trouble. What kind of mathematics we have? 1 + 1 + 1 is equal to 1 since when? Like, come on. Okay, but Abdul, we don't have 1 + 1 + 1. Who said that? We have one God. If God cannot be in how he wants to be or how he is, who are you to tell him? How come the Muslims don't ask their God? How come you have a shin? Okay, is Allah shin plus his hand plus his face, are they connected together to make one body or not? If they are not, well, that's mean Allah is not one. And if the Quran is not a created and Allah is not a created, so now we have two divine. Are they connected or not? I mean, this, but the Muslims, they have only a logic work for them. So now the angel, he got the, you know, like he finished almost most of the surgery. He cleaned the dirt of Muhammad, as we heard from Muslims in that, like the dumb Ishmael, he said, to purify the body of Muhammad. And now it's time to stuff. Look at the word stuff. You see, this is not my translation. Excuse me, Muslims. It says here, let me zoom in. I want to zoom in. Because most of you don't have a good vision, you know. Stuffed. Do you see how powerful this word is? Stuffed. He just like took the dish and he put it in the mouth of Muhammad or in his belly. He stuffed. So he was like pushing so hard to be sure that there's no more space left. It's not accepted, brother. Look how much Abdul, the one who said this is metaphor. What is the metaphorical with the stuffed? Do you know like any metaphorical with the stuffed? So this is now, brother, the prophet, belly, stomach, whatever. And now the angel is stuffing faith and wisdom everywhere. And there's no more space. Be honest with me now. How many of you now getting hungry now? Unbelievable. Okay, they will start leaving the chat now, going to their kitchen. I made a mistake. The prophet was stuffed, but not with normal food. Wisdom, brother, and faith. I don't know. I mean, you see, I think if Muhammad, he went to Indonesia, and the angel Jibreel, he would change the material he stuffed him with. He would stuff him with rice. I mean, they have a nice food there, Indonesia, Thailand, you know, unbelievable. So, hey Muslims, why he stuffed his chest and his throat, blood vessel with it? What is significant about this, brother? Who is going to explain to us? Anyone? If there's any Muslim would like to call me and tell me why this is happening? And don't be upset from me. I'm just reading what your prophet said. The one who's speaking there is your prophet. Because remember, there was nobody there. Only the two angels and Muhammad. That's it. The two angels go home after they finish their surgery. They are tired, my friend. They spend the whole night doing the surgery. That's not easy. I mean, a doctor, it takes him 24 hours to replace a heart. Like they can even take the heart and put you in a machine, supposedly. But take long time. Jibreel took him a lot of time because he took everything. He have to put the liver back, the stomach back, everything. Like screws, everything. But I like to get answer for things. Because here there's details. Obviously, those details are not meant to be for no reason. Remember, my friend, Prophet Muhammad didn't say things out of foolishness. He's a genius. So, based on this, who is the genius Muslim can tell us why he said that the angel, he stuffed the dish which was full of belief and wisdom. And this is the only religion have dishes of wisdom and belief. And look, there's connected. There's a connection here, brother. Belief, wisdom. Because if you have a belief without wisdom, you are a full believer. Allah will not accept that. A full believer is somebody a fool, but believe in things. As an example, you know, only smart believers believe if they kiss a black stone, it's erased their sin, brother. That's a smart belief. Only smart believers believe if they live in Australia, they can pray in the direction of Mecca. This is a smart belief, brother, because the earth is flat. It's a smart belief to drink camel urine. It's very healthy. The United Nations talk about it, brother. Barack Obama talk about it, brother. Open heart surgery take now 3 hours. You see, 3 hours in the time of Allah is like 1,000 of years. The Quran says 1 day for Allah is 1,000 years for us. Are you with me? 1 day for Allah, brother, is equal to 1,000 years. So if the 1,000 year is equal to 24 hours of Allah, and then you say that he is taken 3 hours just for the heart, okay, that is 416,000 hour, brother. X3, hold on. X3, what is that? Well, 1,025,000 hours. Don't take me there, please. This is too much. So here we notice together that there is a special technique of Allah. Allah not only He installed faith and wisdom, He installed it in a specific location. Where? He stuffed it in His throat. Through His blood vessels. And now the Prophet, he have a circulation of wisdom going all the way down to his feet, his penis, his stomach, all over, even his hair. If you cut the Prophet hair, you are cutting wisdom. If the Prophet he bleed wisdom and faith. What a bleedy, or let us say, what an extreme priceless blood that blood is. Faith and wisdom sent from Allah. But look, this story lead me to understand now, and you Muslims have to agree with me, that Allah, He cleansed Muhammad because obviously he's dirty. This is number one. Number two, let us make a list. Hold on. So number one, Allah, He have to clean Muhammad. Cleaning. The Prophet. Which imply that Muhammad was dirty. And the Muslims agree that he was purifying him, right? So he must be dirty. Okay. He is dirty. So Allah is trying to clean the dirty Muhammad. Mission is accomplished. Now Muhammad, he become clean. That's wonderful. Number two, installing a dish of intelligence. You know, you cannot do such a thing with someone like Muhammad, because Muhammad is the most smart person ever. We have to understand that. However, Allah, He decide that the intelligence of His prophet is bad. So He decided to install intelligence, a lot of intelligence, because Allah, He discovered that His prophet is extremely a fool. So number two, intelligence installed. What kind of installation this? Who taught you to write the word installed like this? Unbelievable, very embarrassing. Okay, intelligence, not installed, hold on. Intelligence stuffed. Brother. To fix his stupidity. So obviously he was stupid. And he needed a surgery of his intelligence. So this is number two. Number three, faith. Faith is very important. And Allah, He need to install special dish of faith in Muhammad because he have none. Therefore, Allah, He decided to install faith in Muhammad, for he was obviously a kafir. And kafir mean evil, you know. He don't believe in Allah. He don't have faith. So we learn three things from such a beautiful story reported by the beautiful prophet of Allah. That he needed special cleaning, for he was so dirty. He need special dish of intelligence, for he was so full. And he needed dish of faith, for he was so infidel. Take a selfie for this, because we will go back to the hadith. If we go back here, after the angel, he stuffed his throat, blood vessels with it, which mean faith and wisdom. Then he closed it. He closed what? The chest. The end of the surgery. And now it is time to go to heaven. So what was the purpose of this surgery? Allah, He cannot take Muhammad to heaven in the way he is. Take a note, number one. Allah, He cannot take Muhammad to heaven in the way he is. What the way he is? Well, if we look at what He installed, we will find the way He is. What Allah He installed? He installed wisdom. Abdullah Fattah, he is saying the following. Thank you, Abdullah, for enlightening us with amazing answer, brother. What's wrong with washing Prophet with Zamzam water? He didn't wash because he was dirty, but because he's blessed by Allah. My friend, so are you saying to me that Muhammad was not blessed until that time? And the water of Zamzam, which is a water in the ground, everybody can drink from it, is the one who will bless him? By what? By washing his chest? Where you get this from? This is blessing or to wash? The hadith says he washed it. And actually even you said. You said he did not wash because, which means you agree he washed. He was washed, not he was washing. But I will make you see better understanding. If we ask you, my friend Abdul Fattah, was your prophet a clean person? Was your prophet a clean person? Yeah, S-A-W-T. What does that mean? Salawatullahi alayhi. What is that? You pray on Allah? Or you pray on Muhammad? What is this? Was Muhammad a clean person or he was a dirty person? Any Muslim can help us? Whatever you Muslims, you say, I will put it in the screen. Was Muhammad a clean person or a dirty person? Accept my call? Why you want to accept your call? Who are you? And my Skype is not open, neither my Paltalk. Any Muslim can tell us if Muhammad is a clean person or not. Was he clean according to your understanding? You will give me $2,000? Okay. Now I'm going to accept your call because you will give me $2,000, brother. Alhamdulillah. Somebody told you I'm like Muhammad. I take a private consultation money, like your prophet. In the Quran, it says, if you want to see the prophet in private consultation, you have to pay him. Keep your money to yourself. Go and donate to Somalia. Your nations are crossing the sea to Europe like crazy. From Afghanistan, from everywhere. Everybody is running out of Islam. Nobody will live in Islamic countries. He take a bath and he is a clean. He take a bath and he was a clean. Muslims, do you agree that Muhammad, he take a bath and he was a clean? Our friend here, he says he was not washed by Zamzam because he was dirty. But let's go and see the hadith to examine if this is true or not. In a second, we will find out. How Muhammad, he take a bath? According to Muhammad and according to Muslims, Muhammad, he take a bath with dead dogs and women blood from period and garbage. Any Muslim? So, if we read the description of this water there, it was not even to the height of your private part. And it is like 6 arm wide. So imagine you have a jacuzzi, or little, like let's say, little tiny swimming pool. You have dead dogs, not one dog. Not one dog. Dead dogs. Do you see it says dead dogs? It's not dogs swimming in the water. It is dead dogs. Who is saying that? The Muslims. And what is beside the dead dogs next to Muhammad's shoulder? Stinking things. In Arabic, wanatin, which means the garbage, stinky garbage. A lot of garbage in the water. And what beside the stinking things and the dead dogs? Women menstruation rags. Well, I see many Muslims would like to call. Let us see. We will open Skype. Give me a second. But if you are going to talk like a kid, I'm going to block you, by the way. If you want to have a nice conversation, you're welcome. All right, we are logging into Skype. Okay. What is your name, my friend? The one, this is... Okay. Call me, I'm a Muslim. Let us see this guy. He is not answering. Huzaifa Khan. Okay. I hope it's not ultimate fart. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, my friend, you are live on air. What would you like to say to us about the topic? Hello?
Hello, is my voice coming clear?
Yes, your voice is coming very clear, my friend. So what do you like to say to us about the topic? You heard what I was saying, right? About your prophet having a surgery, etc.
First of all, I would like to say, what's your problem with Islam? Why you keep on saying negative things about Islam? You are a pessimistic person, you know.
You see, my problem is I don't have a problem. I just don't want to laugh. What's your problem? I'm free. I can laugh at anything. I find it stupid, and I find Islam very stupid. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah. How you find Islam stupid?
Well, here we go. Your prophet, he says that his God, he sent him a dish of faith and dish of wisdom is stored in his chest. Don't you find this is stupid?
Yeah. So what?
Did you say yes? Did you say yes? Did you say yes? So you yourself, you are laughing now. You just agreed that your prophet is stupid. So what kind
No,
of?
I didn't say that. I didn't say yes. I never said yes.
Okay. So what do you think about
just,
this? What do you think about is storing the dish of faith and wisdom?
I'm just asking you what's wrong in it. What's wrong in it? It's not.
Well, I find it
something that
funny.
should-
Prove to me it's not funny. I say this is stupid because since when faith and wisdom they come in dishes?
Yes, for that you have to believe that in the unseen, you know.
What unseen? This is a
If you
dish.
believe in unseen, then you.
My friend, what unseen? This is a dish. It's a dish full of food, and this food is not
So
normal food. It's a faith.
who brought the
Jibreel.
who brought the dish?
Okay, Jibreel. So
It was the
since
angel.
when? Okay, explain to me why Allah he needed to send a dish of wisdom to Muhammad to install it in his chest. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, because without wisdom you can't understand Islam. Like you are not able to understand Islam, and
Okay.
many of you Christians are not able to understand Islam.
Okay.
So wisdom is required for them.
Wonderful. So
That's
guys,
why
so you are saying that your prophet he could not understand Islam all those years until the angels they installed this dish in his chest. So your prophet was a stupid fool all his life until they did the surgery, correct?
No, actually, the thing is, it is required. It is required for a Muslim or for a man to have wisdom from Allah. Allah gives the wisdom for Islam.
Okay.
No matter how
Allah gave you how Allah
no
gave you
matter
wisdom?
how
You are a Muslim. How Allah gave you wisdom?
Okay, Allah gave me wisdom through the knowledge. Okay,
Through
for
knowledge.
Prophet Muhammad
So
sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
why
there was
Allah he did not give wisdom to Muhammad in the same way? He is not sending him knowledge. He is sending him a dish.
because there was not knowledge present or present
Why
formerly.
Allah was not
You know,
talking to Muhammad? Allah is not sending Jibreel with the Quran. Isn't it the Quran is a book of knowledge? So are you saying to me all the
You know,
Quran Muhammad received, all the Quran Muhammad received did not help Muhammad? Muhammad is still a fool. So Allah, he gave up and he said, okay, I cannot do it no more. I cannot continue with this guy like this. So I'm going to send Jibreel. He will open his chest. He will force wisdom inside his chest. He will install it. He will zip it. So Muhammad cannot fart it.
yeah, because you
Yeah,
know,
did you say yeah? Here we go. Thank
prophets,
you.
the prophets.
So why Allah, why
No,
Allah did not send you
I'm
a dish of wisdom yourself? He sent it to Muhammad
you
because
do not
Muhammad
even
needed
listen
it.
to my whole sentence.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
I'm
listening.
saying that I'm saying that there is difference between prophet and the ordinary man. You know, because prophet on prophet the revelations are revealed. You know,
Okay.
on us the revelations are not revealed. We have to take knowledge through Islam. So you know, to us, Allah give knowledge. Allah give wisdom through our good side. You know, there is a good side and bad side in every person. So our good side we get the wisdom, but in the case of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it should Allah had to make sure that he knows that he is the prophet. So you know, so
Allah, he have to
he
make
saw,
sure.
you
Hold
know,
on, hold on,
signs
hold
of
on.
Allah.
Allah, he have to make sure that he's a prophet. Allah, he have to make
No,
sure.
Allah has to make sure that he knows that he has been chosen as a prophet.
Okay, but this is happening long after that. Muhammad already he
So
received Quran. Muhammad already he spoke to the angel. Muhammad already been squeezed by the angel. So now Muhammad he will know he's a prophet by a surgery in his chest. Let me ask you: did Allah did the surgery to Moses?
first thing is that surgery is done by human, not angels. Okay, so
No,
it is
it's
not a
done.
surgery. You do
No,
not call it a
no,
surgery.
it's done by angels. So it's a surgery.
No,
It's
it's done by humans. You know,
okay.
by
Hold
angels.
on. It says here. Read with me carefully. Read with me. It says, then Jibreel cut open from here to there, from his throat to his testicles. So what do you mean? This is a human doing the surgery?
Okay, I can't see your YouTube because I am in the call with you.
Okay.
So how can
I
I
will
see
send
your
you.
YouTube?
I will send you the link to your Skype, my friend, and you can open it and you can read it. Here we go. This is your Skype. I'm going to send it to you. All right. And this is the link. And this is an authentic hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari. So Jibreel cut open from here to there, from his throat to his testicles to his balls. May Allah bless his balls.
So if if he does so, what you find negative in that? You know what you find negative in that? What's
Okay,
negative
look, you
in
see,
this
you are
video?
contradicting yourself. I'm not talking about negative or positive. I'm talking about a stupid story. It does not make sense because wisdom does not come by a surgery.
No.
Okay,
You know,
let me ask you.
everything does not make sense.
Let me ask you. If Allah want to fix something, if Allah need to fix something, do he need to snake a surgery, or he can say fixed is going to be fixed?
Yeah, Allah can fix it in every way, you know. But
Okay,
to
in
show,
every way, give me,
you know,
give me the easiest way to fix the problem of Muhammad now. Can Allah make Muhammad wise by saying be wise? Can he do that?
Can't you see the vision that Allah wants Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to see himself what's happening with him, so that he can believe in the unseen. You know, nobody has seen the unseen except the Prophet. Yeah.
Nobody's seen the unseen. How it is unseen and he's seen the unseen? If he's seen the unseen, that's mean it's not unseen. You just said nobody's seen the unseen.
Yeah.
Okay,
For prophets,
but
yeah,
nobody,
of course, for
nobody's
prophets,
seen
it's
the.
not-
Okay, hold on. You said to me the prophet he's seen the unseen. What is the unseen? What do you mean by the unseen?
By unseen, I mean the angels. Can't you see angel?
Okay, but isn't your
Tell me,
prophet he
can you
sent the
see?
angels? The Quran says Allah he sent the angel Jibreel to Mary.
Yeah, they were prophets.
Okay, Mary is a
Two
prophet.
prophets.
Mary is a prophet.
To Mary, the angel came in the form of humans. You know,
No
not
problem, but
exactly
is
like.
she, okay, did the angel came to your prophet in the form of a human or a form of an angel?
Both.
Okay. So
The angel.
you said seeing the angel is seeing the unseen. Well, the donkey can see the angels according to your prophet.
Yeah, we can see angels, but when we see the angels, they come in front of us.
Focus with me. You're a prophet. When he saw first time an angel, he could not recognize him. He asked his wife Khadija. Okay. How Muhammad? Do you remember the story about Khadija asking Muhammad to sit in her lap?
Yes.
Okay, so
To trust in Allah. Yes.
okay, so Muhammad, he saw somebody in the corner. He do not know who's he. And then he said to Khadija, I see someone in the corner. She said to him, when he come to you next time, let me know. So he saw him again. She said to him, okay, sit in the top of my left leg. She said, do you see him? He said, yes. She said, sit in the top of my right leg. Do you see him? Still yes. Then she asked him to sit in the top of her, and she took off her clothes. She said, do you see him? She said, no. She said, praise be Allah, he's an angel. So how Khadija, she was able to recognize the angel, and Muhammad, the one who see him, do not know there's an angel?
Because Prophet Muhammad was in fear. You know, if you see a ghost light right now, if you see a jinn right, you will be in fear. You will not be in fear.
Muhammad have a fear, no problem. Okay, I will go with you. How a donkey, when he see an angel, you know, so how a rooster, hold on. How a rooster, he can recognize the angel and Muhammad he cannot. The hadith in front of you, it says, when you hear the crow, ask Allah for his favor upon you, for surely you have seen an angel. When you hear the bray of the donkey, seek refuge in Allah from shaitan, for surely he saw the devil. So according to Muhammad, a rooster is more qualified than him. He needed the legs of his wife to do striptease for him to discover if this is an angel or not. A rooster, he do not need his chicken wife. He find right away this is an angel. Now, Muhammad, he needed the installation of the wisdom. Is that so because he can recognize the angels because he was so full?
Yeah, so because so that he could take the knowledge, because the knowledge of Islam is not for everyone.
What is the knowledge?
Many people go astray from it.
The knowledge of Islam given to Muhammad. Okay, the knowledge of Islam given to Muhammad is the Quran, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, did Allah install Quran in his chest, or he installed something else?
Yeah, you know, Quran was, you know better than me. You have studied more Islam than me.
I'm asking you, my friend. Don't tell me I know more than you. That is not the answer. Did Allah install Quran in his chest, or Allah, he gave him Quran by the angel, you know, by recitation? So
by revelations.
Okay, so if the Quran is the word of Allah, it is the wisdom given to Muhammad, then there is no need for a surgery. So what the surgery for?
You see, without that, he could not be able to understand what Islam means. You know, every person is not.
Guys, did you hear what our friend? Okay, thank you. Guys, did you hear what he said? He said, without the surgery, Prophet Muhammad could not understand the Quran.
Yeah, because it has the knowledge of previous scriptures.
Right. So we can say, those knowledge. So we can say that Allah, he installed tafsir in the chest of Muhammad.
Yeah, by wisdom, you know, by wisdom comes the knowledge. If you have wisdom,
so Allah now, he installed tafsir in the chest of Muhammad, but still Muhammad cannot explain the Quran.
What? Still Muhammad?
Yes. Isn't it Muhammad, he said that the Quran, there's a big part of it, nobody knows what they mean, save Allah. So what the point?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to me? I will go with you. So now Muhammad, he can understand the Quran after the surgery, correct?
Yeah.
Where does the sun set?
Where does the sun set?
Sunset
in west.
Where?
Sunset in west.
That's not true. I mean, this is how it appears, but the sun did not set really. According to your prophet, the sun set in hot water. So now your prophet, you said, Allah, he installed wisdom in his chest, and now he have understanding of the Quran. So in the Quran, it says that Zulqarnain, he found the sun setting in murky water, and now Muhammad, he understood the Quran, correct?
Yeah, it is a metaphor, you know.
Metaphor for what? What a metaphor? Hold on. How it's a metaphor? He said to the guy, do you know where the sun goes? He said, Allah and his apostle know best. He said, it goes in a muddy hot water. Explain to us the metaphor of muddy hot water.
See, listen to me. the knowledge of Islam is so much so much vast, so not all the things in Islam are meant for all the Muslims coming for the future. Some
My
things
friend, you
are
told me,
for the
you
Muslims
told
who
me,
complete.
hold on. You told me that Allah, He installed tafsir knowledge in the chest of Muhammad so he can understand the Quran, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Quran chapter 18 verse number 86, it says there is a guy, his name the guy with the two horn. He went all the way until he found the sitting place of the sun, which is very stupid because the sun set everywhere, there's no sitting place of the sun. And he found it sitting in a spring of a black, muddy, hot water. You're a prophet now, he's going to explain to us the verse. Do you agree with me that your prophet, he understands the Quran better than anyone? Or you don't?
Yes, he understood the Quran. Yes.
Okay. Well, you're a prophet, he explained, and he said, well, muddy water is where the sun set. It's hot water, read it. This is the hadith. So now this is Muhammad after the surgery, saying stupid things. How do you explain that?
Okay, send me the hadith. Kindly send me the hadith.
Here we go. It's in front of you. This is the hadith. I will send it to you in Skype. Open it and read it for us. Go ahead.
Okay, let me read. Allah's messenger prayed Maghrib when the sun had set. Oh, no, this is not. Okay.
The second one.
I've got
the
it.
second one.
4002. I'm opening it.
Okay.
I was sitting behind the messenger of Allah وسلم, who was riding a donkey while the sun was setting. He asked, do you know where the sun sets? He replied, Allah and His Apostle knows best. He said, it sets in a spring of warm water. Yeah, it doesn't say literally, it is used as a metaphor.
Where it says metaphor, where it says that, where you get this from? The guy, he was sitting in the back of Muhammad, and it saw the sun setting, the sun is going down. Muhammad says, do you know where the sun goes?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually,
do you know where it says? Does it say? Does it say? Does it say in the front of you? Do you know where this set? Does it say that?
Yes.
Okay.
It is asked.
They were saying something. They were saying
location.
Something physical or something metaphorical.
Yeah, the location was being discussed here.
Well,
Do you know where this sun sets? The location.
The location is metaphorical. Okay, what is the metaphorical of hot water? Go ahead. The sun sets in hot water. What is the metaphorical of it?
It sets in a spring of warm water.
Okay.
The spring of warm water sets on that. The visual scene that you see will be like it is setting in a spring of warm water.
Since
so
when?
This is what
Who in the world he see that sun sitting in a spring of water is little water? The sun sitting in a spring of water.
If you Google it, you will see there are many people who go and they show the pictures of sun being setting.
Really? The sun sitting in a spring of water?
This earth has more water than the land. So sun sets in where it is water, sun sets there.
So no, hold on. There's pictures, people showing you the sun sitting in a spring of water?
Yeah, no, not in the spring of water. It's metaphorical.
Okay, metaphorical of what? You keep saying metaphorical. Your prophet, he said, hold on. You are making things up. It says there, it's set in a spring of warm water. Did he say there it's a metaphorical? My friend, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened?
Where do you get this word metaphorical from?
You see, in Quran, it also says metaphorically that he found...
Let us see the metaphorically. Hold on. Can you read the Quran with me? It says here, until when he reached the setting place of the sun. Is the setting place of the sun metaphorical or it's a place?
The
guy, he keep walking. He
let me search.
all the way to the end of the earth.
Let me search. You can send me.
Chapter 18, verse number, read 54, 84, etc. Let me send you the link. Here we go.
Chapter 18, Surah Al-Kahf.
Yeah, 84, 85, 86. You can even read it from before if you want.
Okay, verse number 84.
Yeah.
I will do it.
84, 80, 85, 86. So it says until
Surely we
so the
established
guy, so
him.
this guy he took away, we established for him in earth. This is a real person who was going war. He kept traveling until he reached the setting place of the sun. Does it say that in verse number 86?
Yeah, until
Okay.
he reached the setting point of the sun, which appeared to him to be setting in a spring of murky water.
Where in the Quran it says which hold on, where in the Quran it says which appeared to him?
Yeah, in Quran.com. This is the website.
My friend, this is a false translation. Here we go. You can copy. This is the Arabic. It says حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمية.
Okay.
There's nowhere it says it
Let me-
appeared to him. That's a lie. There's no way. You see, the Muslims are corrupting the Quran. Does it say in
Let
the
me read
verse?
another-
Does it say
let's
in
read another-
anywhere in the Quran it appeared to
Okay,
him?
so let
Be
me-
honest with me. No. Does it say in the verse
Yeah.
anywhere it appeared to him, or this is additional? The Muslims are lying.
Okay, so let me read another translation. Until when he reached the setting of a point, he found it as if. It also means the same.
Okay, hold on. How the previous translation says it appeared to him, and now there's no it appeared to
Yeah.
him. What happened?
Yeah, he found it. That
Okay.
means the same. He found it.
No, he
or
found it.
appeared
It's
to
mean
him.
he found, my friend. No.
It's like active voice and
okay,
passive
hold on.
voice.
Who is the one saying he found it?
He found it. Of course, it is the revelation of Allah. So
Okay, who's
Allah is
talking?
telling the
Okay, so
story of
Allah
that.
is saying he found it. So Allah reporting false find or reported what he found? Allah is lying? If I say to you,
No.
this guy, he went home and he found his wife watching a movie, am I reporting to you a true find or it's a false lie? Which will not,
Actually, it was not setting in the spring of water, but it appears to Zulkarnain like
where
it was
it
setting
says
in
the
the
word
spring.
appear? Can you show me where it says it appeared to him?
Yeah, that is the same in the translation. He found it.
No, this is a
which
lie.
appeared.
It says, okay, does it say, read with me carefully, my friend. It says, he reached the sitting place of the sun. Where is that? Sitting place of the sun.
It is until he reached the setting point of the sun. Yes, it is written.
Okay, where that location? This guy, he keep going. Your God
We
is
don't
speaking
know
about, is talking about him, the earth, the whole earth established for him. Read it, verse number 84. So now this guy, he went around the earth. So this is not a one-day journey. And now he keep going until this is the point of stop. When he reached the sitting place of the sun, where we can find the sitting place of the sun?
You can't understand that. It means that when he was traveling, the sun was not setting, but at a certain place,
So this
the
guy
sun.
who was going for years traveling, the sun was not setting.
Not years. Not I didn't say
Does
years.
it say he
I
established
said
for him?
he was-
No, the guy he established. Allah established for him to control the earth. This guy he conquered.
You
the
aren't
earth.
even understanding what I am saying.
No, you are not.
Okay,
No,
so-
I'm not understanding. No, you are just making things up. It says, "Verily, we establish him in the earth, and we gave him the means of everything."
I'm not-
Then he followed away.
I'm not making things.
Okay, listen.
I'm not making things up.
Until he reached the sitting place of the sun. The sitting place of the sun, I can reach it without moving one step from my place right now. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can,
So
but if you are traveling,
it doesn't
if you are
say,
okay,
no,
okay.
listen, it
Let-
doesn't say,
Please,
it doesn't say he keep going until the sun set. It says until he reached the sitting place of the sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
He reached
same
what? He
I-
reached what? He reached what? He did not reach the time. He reached the sitting place. Does it say the sitting place?
So now will you allow me to tell you what is this?
Okay.
What's going on in-
yeah, what's going on?
Okay.
Yeah. Supposedly Allah he installed a dish of wisdom in your chest, and now you know the answer. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I want you to consider that you are traveling in an airplane.
Okay.
You first let us suppose you are in America, and
Yeah.
then you go to a far country. So now, when you are moving from America, the sun is not setting. But when you go to a place, a certain place like the other country, you found that sun was setting there. So this is the point of setting of sun.
But my
Okay.
friend, okay, you jump something
And it's
very,
second
you jump something very important. He keep going. He reach a place of the sun setting. He reach it, and then he stopped there. forget about now about the sun setting. He reached the place where the sun set. Where is that?
It does not say he reached the place where the sun set.
It says.
It says
It
it
says.
reached the place where the
says-
sun was setting.
No, it
The
says.
setting-
No,
the setting
no,
point
it
of-
doesn't. No, it doesn't say that. It says. It's your Muslim translation in front of me. It says, until he reached the setting place of the sun.
So what according to you a setting place? As you are saying me, the setting place means that.
Okay, hold on. Let us go with let us go with your with funny explanation. If you go with me little verses more, it says here he changed another direction, verse number 89, and then he says he keep going, until he came to the rising place of the sun.
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm reading.
Okay. Where is the rising place of the sun? So this guy he keep going,
Then travel-
going, until he found
he
the rising
travel,
place of the sun.
Then he traveled a different course until he reached the rising point of the sun. Yes.
Where is the rising point of the sun?
So it is simple. It means the same as the previous one. You know, where the sun
my
set.
friend, hold on. The guy, he just, let us say it was 2 days journey. Okay, now he arrived to the sunset place, right? The previous verse. Now he changed direction. So he kept going during the night until he reached the sun rising place.
Yeah. So
Look, and it says
just consider
it says he found it
consider 2 points
rising. Listen, my friend. It says he found it rising on people whom Allah had provided no shelter. So that point is where those people live, correct?
yes.
Okay, and he found it rising in those
Yes.
people, not in other people,
It's a
only
place
those
where-
people, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so now he come to the rising place, and that place there's people who live there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but the rising place of the sun is everywhere, correct?
No. Listen to me. I want you to consider.
No, listen to me.
Please.
What country you live in? What country you live in?
I live in Pakistan.
In Pakistan. Okay. Do I need to go to Pakistan to see the sunrise, or I can see it in America?
Yeah, you don't need to come here, but if you travel from your country to here, which is far away, you could find that sun is rising from a point.
Listen,
So you say that
don't tell me. There's no
rising
sun
point
rising
of-
there's no sun rising in a point, because first of all, he is talking about rising
sun
place.
rise from a point.
He
We
is
all
no,
know east
no, no,
rise
no.
from east.
Listen,
East is the
he
point
is
where-
saying, oh no, there's no
where-
east, there's no west. This is all like, this is something we created, because there's no east, there's no west. What east, what west? I can change direction now. If you make me a king of all the whole earth, I can change the map. I can name the southeast. I can name the east south. It's a word. Now listen to me carefully. When he came to the rising place of the sun, he found the sun rising on people. So this is a specific location, and the specific people are there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the rising place of the sun, if it is not about a specific place, this verse is stupid, because there's the sunrise everywhere.
Yes, sunrise everywhere. But
Okay. To understand the
Just
verse,
listen to-
we have
just
to
listen
go.
to Quran.
We have to go and see what Muhammad said about this. Your prophet, he explained. He said the sun set in a murky water. You try to get away with it. You said it's a metaphorical. Do you have any proof that this is metaphorical?
yes, I can prove.
Okay, go ahead. Show me.
I already told you that Earth is more water and less land.
This is another
So,
question. This is another question.
point-
Where your prophet
So
said, where
I'm
your
telling you- I'm telling-
said, listen, don't play like I'm not a kid. Maybe you are a kid. I'm being patient with you.
Yeah.
Where it says that this is metaphorical. The hadith in front of me, the man was sitting behind your prophet. Muhammad, he said to him, do you know where the sun is setting? The guy, he said, Allah and his apostle know best. Did he say to him, I'm going to give you a parable? Did he say to him, I'm going to give you a metaphorical? He said, it's set in a spring of warm boiling water. So how in the world you try to escape the stupidity of the Quran and the stupidity of the hadith, and now you try to make it metaphorical.
So, okay, I want you to confirm that what I say.
Did your
Is
prophet
that wrong?
reach the
That
point? Did
sun
your
can
prophet
rise from
reach?
point and
Hold
sun
on.
can-
Did your
sun is-
prophet reach the point where the sun set? No.
Okay, you tell me, in your country,
Don't tell me
in
my
your
country, your country. I'm
doesn't
asking
sun
you.
rise?
When your prophet said the sun goes
Yeah,
and set in
yeah.
the murky water, he was talking about the movement of the sun, or it's a metaphorical?
Because in my country, sun rises from the
Forget about your
every
son,
day.
your country.
Same
Guys,
point
in his
I
country,
got-
in his country, the sun rises every day. This is not the question. I'm saying to
Yes.
you, when you're okay, hold on. Let me ask you. According to your religion,
Yeah.
do the sun move or no?
Yes, sun move.
From where to where? From the east to the west?
No, sun moves. Actually, sun rotates around the center of the galaxy in which we live.
Okay.
It is Milky Way.
But the day, the 24 hours hour a day, is that because the sun moving from the east to the west, or this is wrong?
No, actually, I can answer you there. Just listen to me, okay? So don't interrupt me. I will answer you there, okay?
Okay.
So see, the sunrise from east and sun goes and sets in the west. It means that Earth is rotating around the sun. Earth is revolving and rotating.
Can you give me
So
see,
Earth
my friend, I'm not smart like you. You are a genius. I'm asking you, do the sun every day go from the east to the west? Either you say yes or you say no.
Yes, it goes
The sun goes every day from the east to the west? The sun is moving every
Yes.
day?
passively. Passively, we can say that it goes.
No, does it
Because,
go, or this is how we see it?
This is how we see it. Yeah,
Okay,
passively.
so,
I'm saying
so,
passively,
so
yeah.
it doesn't go, it's the earth going around itself, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Earth's not going around the sun. Earth's rotating in its own axis.
I'm talking about
Around-
now the 24 hours a day. Stop playing like a kid. I'm talking to you as an adult, please. The 24 hours a day. Okay. The sun now is going to set. Is the sun really
Yeah.
setting, or the earth is going around itself? Is the sun is moving around the earth, or the earth is moving around itself to have the 24 hours a day?
Earth is moving around the sun.
No, the sun is not moving around the sun to make the 24 hours a day. The sun is moving, the earth is moving around itself.
Yeah, Earth is moving around itself and revolving around the
Yeah,
sun.
but this is
so what's
that will make different story.
how's-
I'm talking about the 24 hours a day, the day and the night. So when the day and the night happen, is that because the earth is moving around itself, or because the sun moving around the earth?
Yeah, it's because Earth rotates around its own axis.
Thank you
24
very
hours
much.
are like.
So anyone he say that the sun set and the sun rise, it's happening because the sun going around the earth is a fool. Do we agree?
Okay, how it relates to Islam? Please tell me.
Don't change the topic. I'm asking you
Okay.
now. If somebody says that the sun, the day we have, the day and the night, 24 hours happen because the sun is moving around the earth, is he a fool or he's smart?
No, he is not, because he could have
He's not what?
he have saved his wisdom, so he's not. So can you tell me how is
Hold
it
on.
related to Islam?
What are you talking about? I'm saying if somebody, a person, his name is somebody, okay? He said
Yeah.
the sun move every morning, the sun rise, and then the sun goes to the west. You said,
He's not.
don't
fool.
interrupt me. I'm not talking about Muhammad now. Stop being a foolish.
Okay.
I'm saying
Go
a
on.
man. Let us say a guy, he said to you, you saw him in the coffee shop. He said to you, the reason we have day and night because the sun move around the earth. Is that person an ignorant or he is a smart person?
If he says sun goes around the earth, he is ignorant.
Thank you very much. So is your prophet. Here we go. This is your prophet hadith.
Okay.
This is your prophet hadith
Show me.
explaining how the sun
show me.
goes around the earth. Here we go. And I will
Yeah,
give you,
show me.
and
Show me.
I will give you the link so you can open it from your side. And thank you for getting your prophet busted. So it took us all this time trying to play games with me, but thank God your prophet, he never kept his mouth shut and he talked too much. And the more
Yeah.
he talk, he make poo-poo. Go ahead,
Yeah.
read it. Okay, read it. Everybody will laugh at you now. Everybody heard you
Okay,
saying the
let's
one.
see.
Everybody heard you saying the one who say that the sun go around the earth to make the day and the night
Let
is
me-
ignorant.
let me just read the hadith. The Prophet asked me at sunset, "Do you know where the sun goes?" I replied, "Allah is supposed to yeah, till it prostrates itself
No, no,
underneath the
read it
throne."
slow, read it slow, read it slow, read it slow. We want everybody to read it with your voice. Please, read carefully. The Prophet asked me, continue.
The Prophet asked me at sunset, "Do you know where the sun goes?" I
Okay.
replied, "Allah and His Apostle know better." He said, "It goes till it prostrates itself underneath the throne and takes the permission to rise again, and it is permitted. And then a time will come when it will be not allowed. It will be about to prostrate itself, but its prostration will not be accepted, and it will be and it will ask permission to go on its course, but it will not be permitted. But it will be ordered to return whence it has to come. It has come, and so it will rise in the west." And that is the interpretation of the statement of Allah. And when the sun runs in its fixed course for a term decreed, and that is the decree of Allah, the exalted in might and the all-knowing.
Thank you. So now your Prophet explained the Quran. Not only he's saying hadith, he's saying the sun runs
Can I
on a
explain
course.
it now?
Listen,
Can I
listen.
explain it now?
You can't. What do you mean explain? The Prophet explained already. He said, "Do you know where the sun goes?" He said, "No, Allah and His Apostle knows best." Even this one needs explanation. Hold on. Even this one needs explanation, guys.
You are saying it's incorrect.
Hold on. So was your Prophet explaining the Quran?
You're saying it's incorrect. Can I
was
show
your
you?
Prophet explaining the Quran? Listen, he said where the sun goes at the time of the sunset. Did he say where the sun goes?
Can I prove you wrong?
Does it
That
say,
you are.
does it say?
You are,
Does it say where the sun goes?
yes.
Okay, so your Prophet asking where the sun goes, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the sun is going, and then he says, and this is between two brackets at the time of the sunset. The guy replied that Allah and Muhammad know better. Wonderful. Muhammad continues saying, it goes, i.e. travel. Does it say i.e. travel?
Yeah.
Okay. You are the one who said, if somebody said the sun travel around the earth, he is ignorant.
Yeah.
Okay. So your prophet is ignorant. He's a false prophet.
So can I prove you wrong now?
Okay, go ahead. Prove me wrong. What
Can
you
I
said?
prove
You agreed with me.
Can I prove you?
Go ahead. Prove me wrong. What? Wrong.
No, I will prove it wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to prove you ignorant. Okay. No, so now everyone will see you are ignorant, not our prophet. So this hadith, where's my Google? Sorry. So in this hadith, Prophet asked the companion that, do you know where the sun goes? So I told you already, formerly that some hadith. This is the life of Prophet. This is the life of Prophet. It is not Quran. Quran is meant for everyone. Hadith is not meant for everyone. From hadith we take what is the life of Prophet, how he explained everything. So so he is telling his companion. So at that time science was not so much advanced. So Allah Almighty, Prophet does not say any word without the permission of Allah and without what Allah says. So he told him the companion that sun goes, moves, travels, and until it goes under the throne of Allah and asks the permission to rise. So you must have heard the hadith about that Allah comes to the nearest heaven in the early morning. So it is the same time of after the sun is gone, sun rises from somewhere else, and that is the same time in which Allah comes to the nearest heaven, and the throne is the nearest heaven. So when the sun is about to rise in another country, when it is about to rise in another country, it asks permission from Allah to spread its light in that country. So it means this. So it proves you are ignorant. You don't know the meaning of hadith.
Okay.
So our prophet is not ignorant.
Okay, let us see this. Who is stupid here? Does it say here that it's going to ask permission to go back and then it's going to be ordered to rise from the west?
Yeah, go back.
Okay, how the sun is going to rise from the west?
Sun is
It's going to be ordered to return. Read carefully. It's going to be ordered. Read carefully. It's going to be ordered to return whence it has come from. Does it say in that? So now the sun came to Allah, and Allah is saying to the sun, "You cannot rise from the east no more. Go where you came from. Where she came from the west."
Actually, no. Okay, what was your question? How is right there?
So
No.
Europe, okay, and then the Quran says, and your Prophet quoting Quran says, and this is what it's meant, that the sun runs into a fixed course every day. So the sun runs into a
Yeah, it
course
says
every
that.
day. Okay, now let me ask you. You said that Allah, He come down every third part of the night. Why He come down?
Yeah,
Why He come down?
because he come near to the Allah is most loving. He comes near to the creation to bless.
Okay, you said
You know,
in the
blessings
you
come when
said
Allah-
He come in
No,
the lowest.
blessings come when Allah comes.
Okay,
You don't even understand that.
You said He come in the lowest heaven, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How many heaven there is in Islam?
There are 7 heavens.
All right. So I want you to think with me. Now you just said that Allah, He come down every day in the third part of the night. Do we agree?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So this is heaven. I'm going to draw on the screen. This is heaven number 7. This is heaven number 6. This is heaven number 5. This is heaven number 4. 3, 2, 1. So your God Allah, He go down every day to heaven number 1. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
All right. So now Allah is inside heaven number 1. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Allah is inside His creation.
No, the first heaven is not this. This is earth.
Okay,
He's not inside the
is heaven
the
is his,
first heaven.
Oh, hold on. I just said so. Allah is inside His creation, and you said no. Is the heaven is the creation of Allah?
Yeah.
Okay, so Allah coming down, and you agree, coming down. Heaven
What you
number
said?
hold on.
What
Everybody's
you-
laughing, man. People are dying laughing at you. Heaven number 1,
No,
heaven number
I
2,
don't
heaven
understand
number
what you
3,
said.
heaven number 4, number 7. So this is heaven number 7. It is in the top. This is number 7. Allah, He is coming down. Coming down where? To heaven number 1, correct?
Heaven. Yes.
Okay. So Allah, He come down to heaven number 1. This is heaven number 1. And is heaven number 1 is the creation of Allah?
Yes.
Okay.
So is the throne. So is the throne creation of Allah.
Okay, so
Allah,
and heaven, so
purchased
heaven,
himself
okay,
over
so
the throne.
heaven number 1
So you
and
can't
heaven number 7,
carry-
both of them, they are the creation of Allah. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, so Allah is inside His creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allah established himself for himself the throne.
Okay,
Yes.
guys, no, hold on. So Allah now is inside His creation. So Allah is a
No,
smaller than.
Allah
Okay.
not inside the creation. Allah
what
comes
do
to
you
the
know?
nearest.
No, you just agreed. You said yes. Everybody heard you. I said, is Allah is now inside His
Okay.
creation? You said yes. Okay. So now Allah is
And not a
smaller.
person to
Is
say-
Allah bigger than His creation or
So
smaller?
ignorant. You think no one can do a mistake. You grip a mistake of a person and you keep on
Oh, so you made a
torturing
mistake.
him on
Okay, no
that
problem,
mistake.
guys. He made a mistake. He made a mistake. I will allow you to correct it. Okay. So now Allah coming down. Is it you who said Allah coming down?
Yes, Allah comes down.
Okay. So Allah come down from heaven number 7 to heaven number 1. Do we agree?
Yes.
All right. When Allah He arrived to heaven number 1, is He still in heaven number 7 or He is in heaven number 1 now?
He is Al-Azim is the name of Allah.
This
so
is not the
he
question.
is-
This is not the question.
we cannot measure the size of Allah.
Don't stop running away from the question. Embarrassment. Is Allah now? Allah He came down to heaven number 1. Is He still in heaven number 7 or He is in heaven number 1 now?
Allah's throne is taken
This is
by
not the question. This is
angels
not
in
the
the
this is
heaven
not
number
the.
1.
Did I ask you about the question?
I'm
Did I ask you
answering
about the
you. Allah is
throne? Abdul, listen. Allah now coming down. He took His throne with Him. He did not take it. It's not that question. Allah Himself is not a piece of chair. I'm talking about Allah. Allah, He came down to the lowest heaven, and you are the one who quote the hadith for me. Wonderful. So now
Yes.
Allah is he still in heaven number 7, or now Allah is in heaven number 1?
Okay, will you now let me ask you a question?
Don't ask me a
Allah
question.
is
Either
giving
you
his,
say he is in
Allah
heaven.
has,
Don't ask me a question. Answer the question. Is Allah now still in heaven number 7, or now he is in heaven number 1?
I'm asking your question because you are not letting me answer the
I
question.
don't want to
I am
because I want to explain to me what you just said. Don't ask me questions. Either you say
I am trying to answer
why
you
it is
with
hard to say.
answer
Okay,
you with logic.
is it you who says Allah come down?
Yes.
Okay,
I said
come and down. Come and down. Allah is moving, correct?
yes.
Okay. Allah moving.
No,
What no?
you don't know how Allah moves.
How
Allah
Allah
has
move
established
over
himself
okay.
over the throne, and the angels carry the throne. Angels carry the throne downward. Angels carry the throne upward. How can you be like that?
This is not the question.
You know all of the things.
Okay,
But
do Allah come down? When he come down, is he moving down, or the word down does not make sense? Is he going down?
yes,
Is he going
yes,
down?
he comes down.
Okay.
He comes down, and his throne, only his throne is big enough
okay,
to.
guys, his throne is his bike. Okay, now Allah is on the top of his throne, and he is coming down with the chair. He cannot leave his chair. That will not change anything. So now Allah come down with his chair, and now he is in heaven number 1. Do we agree?
You know, in heaven number 1 doesn't mean
Don't-
inside the heaven number 1.
Don't,
Can be equal
don't,
to the
no,
equal
you
to
are,
level
no.
of that.
Okay, so guys, in heaven does not mean inside the heaven. I mean, have you ever heard of a joke like this? So when Allah he come down from where? From the 7th heaven, correct?
No, who said you he comes down from the 7th heaven?
Isn't he in the top of
I
the
never
7th
said
heaven? Isn't he in the top of the 7th heaven?
No, he is above the 7th heaven.
Above,
His
okay, in the
kursi
top.
is
I just
above the
said,
7th
okay, I just said in the top. Okay, guys, he's above. Okay, so now Allah, Mr. Above, he is coming down, correct?
Yes.
Okay, coming down where? To heaven number 1, correct?
On the level of heaven number 1, yes.
Okay, guys, in the level of heaven number 1. So now Allah, when
Yes.
he come in the third part of the night, he is where?
He is on the level of heaven number 1 and above that.
Thank you. So guys, he is
Because we can't
he
measure the
is-
size of
okay,
Allah.
so he is in the heaven number 1. So Allah he passed through heaven number 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and he stopped in above the heaven number 1. Correct?
You can't know how much Allah loves you. You know,
Allah loves me.
What?
Allah loves me. Allah will make for sure. Allah loves me. He will give me 70 years orgasm and a long penis. That is not love, my friend. This is a punishment. Imagine a guy. He have an endless penis. He's walking with it. That's not fun. So don't change the topic. Now Allah, He love you. Allah now He's inside His creation. So how you Muslim you say how God can be inside His creation?
I just said you don't know Allah how much Allah loves you because
This is
you
not the question.
strive
Is
against
Allah
you
now?
strive against
We agree, me and you got yourself busted. Now we agree that Allah now is inside
busted.
His heaven. So Allah is inside His heaven. That means He's inside His creation. Let me ask you. You said that Allah He come down with His chair, correct?
See, the heaven does not
This is
cover
not-
all
this
the
is another
space.
question.
Okay, so he cannot
Different
come
que-
inside the heaven.
different question. You said Allah He come down with His chair, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But isn't it the Quran says that the chair of Allah is in the size of the earth and the heaven?
Yes.
Okay, so how he come down with it when it is bigger than all of them?
So didn't I tell you that?
No, you did not tell
he
me.
comes
You
to the
did
level.
not tell me. No,
He
what you
comes.
tell me?
He
What?
comes to the level. He don't come inside that.
How he come to the level, but he don't come like in the side? There's other side. There's other space.
Yeah, because heaven. You know, we don't know how much space is there in heaven. So we don't know how much space how much empty space is in their space.
Okay, is it the hadith? He says Allah he come down to the lowest heaven. Did it say in the side of it, or it says to the lowest heaven?
So I think if someone thinks about it, he can come to the conclusion that heaven cannot cover all the size that is present in this space. So he comes in the level of you can also say that.
Okay, let us see.
Because
Let us
he
see
comes
let us see the hadith, because people are dying laughing at you, trying to fix it. So your prophet, obviously, he is a mentally ill person who do not know what he is talking about. He is making himself as a prophet, claiming knowledge, and he says stupid things, and now you try to fix it. Read with me carefully. This is the hadith in the front of us. It says, our Lord, the blessed, the exalted, descended every night. Descends. Does it say descend?
Yes, descends.
Okay. Does it say to the lowest heaven?
Yes.
Okay, so he descend from where?
From, we don't know the location.
Okay, from above the seven
From
heaven,
above
right?
the seventh
Okay,
heaven.
okay, guys.
From above the
So he is
seventh
above. Let me draw the seven. Here we go. I will make a drawing so to make it simple for people to understand, and I will use the word you say to me, to explain the point. So now Allah is above. I will draw a line. This is heaven number 7. All right. This is heaven number 7, and Allah is here in the top. Allah. We will type
Yes,
Allah.
above the.
Okay. This is Allah in the top of the heaven number 7. Wonderful. Now, Allah is in the heaven number 7, and He is going to come down. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. He will come down where?
He will come to the heaven number 1.
Heaven number
heaven number
1.
one.
Thank you very much. So he will come to
Yes, to
heaven
heaven.
number 1. Remember what you said. You just said he will come to heaven number 1. He will come to, not beside. Everybody heard you. So Allah will come to heaven number 1. Fantastico. Here we go. We put 1. So now Allah, He moved from heaven number 7 or above 7. He moved to heaven number 1. Allah is here now.
Yeah.
Okay, and you agree with me, thank you. So now, Allah is located in a new location, and that is the lowest heaven. Oh boy. You hear me now? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes,
now,
yes, I hear
so
you,
now
I hear-
Allah,
I hear you.
You agreed with me that Allah now in heaven number 1. In heaven number 1. Wonderful. So is Allah now?
Because
Is Allah
you
is
can't measure the size of
inside-
Allah.
What the size of Allah? He's inside the heaven number 1. It says in the front of us, He go down, He descends
is
every
infinite.
night.
He is
My
infinite.
friend, don't tell me now metaphorical and garbage. Shame on you. Stop playing games. So does it say here that He go to the lowest heaven, not near it, not in the side of it? It says He go down, He descend to the lowest heaven. So what is that? The direction is the lowest heaven, and you agree. Thank you. So now Allah is moving between two locations. One is above the 7th heaven, and one is above the 1st heaven. Do you agree in that?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Allah is moving between His creation.
Yeah. So what can you do about that? What will?
So
what is negative
finally
about that?
agree that
Then-
Allah, He can be inside His creation. So why
Yeah, because
so
you-
why
you
you
don't
Muslim? So
agree.
how?
You don't
So
agree.
why
You
you
just-
Muslim? So why you Muslim? You say how Jesus have a body of a man, and then God He go inside the body He created. Here we go. Your God Allah He go
Okay,
inside.
okay.
Your God Allah He go inside His creation.
Yeah, I thought that those were the Christians who said that Jesus Christ come as a human being. So,
Is Allah a human being?
those. No,
What is your proof?
No.
What is your proof?
but Jesus Christ was.
What is your proof?
Jesus was.
Okay. What is your proof that Allah is not
Yeah,
a human
because
being?
Allah Himself says that He is Lord who creates.
Jesus
so
said,
He is the
okay,
creator.
The Quran says that
And
Jesus is
let me
a-
explain, please. Let me explain.
Jesus is a
And in
creator.
another verse, He
Is
says
Jesus
that,
is a creator. Secondly, Allah, He said He looked like Jesus.
no, Allah in second verse Allah says that there is no example of Allah. Meaning that Allah does not look like anyone.
Okay, let's see if this is true.
So if
Allah-
you see the fruits of
my
God
friend,
and you see the
are
fruits
you
of
are you
yourself,
accusing
your
your
God,
prophet-
your
are you
fruit
accusing
and
your-
God's fruit are not
Are
same.
you accusing your prophet that he is a foolish man? He do not know what he's talking about. You just said that Allah does not look like any man, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but Allah, Prophet, after Allah he made a surgery to fix his stupidity, installing wisdom and faith in his chest, he said that Allah, he looked like Jesus. And this is the hadith. Read it for me.
Okay. Here we go again.
Take your time to read it. Go ahead.
Okay. So you want me to read it slowly, or I can read it like I want? Okay, let me read it slowly. I have told you so much about the Dajjal that I am afraid you may not understand. The Antichrist is short, hand-toed, woolly-haired, one-eyed, and eye-sightless, and neither protruding nor deep-seated. If you are confused about him, know that your Lord is not one-eyed. So, where does it say that Allah looks like a person, or
Okay, Muhammad is worried that the Muslims will think that the false Messiah is Allah, correct?
no? He's worried that they will not understand how he looks like, how is he like.
No.
Because he have told them so much.
No. Read carefully. He said, I
Yeah,
am afraid.
I have to.
Let me read for you. I am afraid that you may not understand. He's talking about what? About the Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
Okay,
The Antichrist.
the Antichrist is what? Is short, hand-toed, woolly-haired, one-eyed, and an eye sightless, neither protruding or nor deep-seated. If you are confused about him, confused with whom? Let us see. Confused about him, know that your Lord is not one-eyed. So the Muslim will be confused.
Yes, because he will. Because he will claim him to be the God. So
Okay.
that's why he.
Wonderful. No, he will claim to be the God by saying he's the Messiah. Thank you very much. So now he is saying to them, if you are confused about him, know that your Lord is not one eye. So they will be confused about him because of the look, obviously. So Muhammad, he find only one way to prove that this is not Allah. He said this guy is one-eyed, sightless. So he did not say Allah is not a man. You see, because if Allah is not a man, the Muslim should not be confused anyway. If Allah is not a man, if Allah is not a cow, if Allah is not a donkey, I do not need to say to you, this donkey is one eye, your God is not. What is the comparison between them? If Allah is not a man anyway, then he should say, why you will be confused anyway? This guy is just a man, so Allah is not a man. He did not say that. He says that this guy,
Yeah, because
he said that this guy is short. He have a problem. Allah is short. Allah is neither he is nor deep seated, and if you are confused about him, know that your Lord is not one-eyed. So the only difference between the Dajjal, the false Messiah, and the true Allah is one eye.
okay. Now will you allow me to explain?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. You have allowed me to explain. Kindly don't interrupt. I will explain you all. Okay. In this, it says, I have told you so much about Dajjal that I am afraid you may not understand. You know, when you tell someone a lot about something, they
Okay.
will confuse some things with each other.
Okay.
So,
Can you stop a
to
second? Can you stop a
confirm,
second? Can you stop a second?
clear all the
No, hold on, guys. So
need-
Muhammad, when he told
you
too
gain
much, look what you just said. When Muhammad, he tell you too much about something that make you confused. You see how stupid what you just said? So Muhammad, he explained too much, and now he think, because he explained too much, the Muslim Abdul are stupid. Have you ever heard of such explanation will make you confused? That's what you just said. So he told you too much, and now because he told you too much, you became confused. And now he will fix it. How? By saying more much. How stupid is that? And now Muhammad saying more much and saying what? More confusing stuff. Because we agree that you need to explain it to me because I'm confused.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now can I answer? Can I answer?
Go
please?
ahead.
Yes. So if I tell you A is to 1, 1 is to A is equal to 1, 1 is equal to, there are so many. There is simple A is to 1. You can remember that. Okay. So in this, the one thing that Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has told his prophets, told his companions, is that he is one-eyed. Just remember this, and your Lord is not one-eyed. Just remember this, and you will identify the true Dajjal when
Okay,
he
how many
comes.
eyes Allah
So
have?
he has cleared all the doubts
How many
of his
Allah, how many
companions.
eyes Allah have?
We don't know. We have not seen Allah. No one has
No, hold on, hold on.
seen Allah.
What do you mean?
Prophet
No, no,
Muhammad
no, no, no,
said,
no, no, no. Okay, did Muhammad see Allah?
no, he didn't see Allah.
Okay, how he knew this?
Because Allah told him.
Where?
Of course, you know information.
Where?
You are questioning every information I am
Why not?
telling.
Why not? Hold on. And then, and Muhammad now he accomplished what? He accomplished that Allah is not one-eyed. But that make us more confused now, because Allah is not one-eyed. That will make him what? Many-eyed God?
Okay, when you question every information that I give you, say why not. And when the Dawa people questions everything, you say them bad words, right?
Listen,
There's
listen. So this verse should say, because this guy, he claimed to be the Messiah, correct? He claimed to be the true
Yes.
Messiah. Okay, so is the Messiah, the true Messiah is a man?
Wait a minute. Right.
Okay, so shouldn't Muhammad say, if you are confused about him, between him and the true Messiah, you should see that, you know, the Messiah, he looked like this. So Muhammad, he is saying clearly that God is the Messiah, because they are confused, because the guy is not even claiming to, he is not claiming to be God. His name is Al-Masih al-Dajjal. He claimed to be the Messiah. So he's claiming to be the Messiah, but Muhammad right away, he's saying to them, well, by claiming to be the Messiah, he's claiming to be God, for Messiah is God. So now you need to know, might be confused, because now he claimed to be the Messiah and that make him God. Secondly, he looked like the Messiah, and that will make him look like God. And now I'm going to give you a trick to find out that he is not really the true Messiah. How? Simply, he is not Messiah, the true Lord is not one-eyed. So here the only way to make it happen, to be working fine, is to say that the true Lord, the Messiah, is not one-eyed, because the comparison have to be between two men who have eyes. This is why your prophet is telling you, this is why your prophet telling you how tall he is, how his physical body look like, and the only problem, he did not say your God is not not tall, not short. He did not say Allah is not short, his hair is not curly or curly. He is describing the Messiah, which they will be confused about him, to be the Lord. What is the only difference from all the description? The eye.
I have already answered you this question, that if
okay, listen.
Okay,
listen. Let us go back to zero. So now your prophet, he have a surgery. Allah, he installed a dish of wisdom. Why Allah installed faith in his chest?
I already told you, so that he may believe that there exists one God,
okay, so
no other deity.
So you are saying to me, Muhammad before the surgery, he don't believe?
Yeah, he didn't believe that Allah is one, because he didn't knew.
Okay, is that fair that your God, he will install? Hold on, guys, listen carefully to this. Muhammad, he started believing in Islam after Allah, he installed faith in his chest. That's what you just said, correct?
No, actually, he never believed in the Arabic gods, because there's a incident in which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ even forbid himself to not eat the food which was cut by the name of other gods. So he always had something in mind that there is only one God, but he didn't know, like Abraham, that what is the God's name and how to pray to him, how to make him happy.
So he believed in God, but he did not know what the God name. So he is the son of a guy, his name is Abdullah, and Muhammad do not know the name yet. So how his father is Abdullah, the slave of Allah?
Abdullah.
So my father, his name is Abdullah, slave of Allah, and now I am the son. I do not know what is the name of the God of my father. What is a joke?
Wait. Let me search. What was his father's name?
Okay, search for it.
Okay, father's name of Prophet Muhammad. Yeah.
So you are explaining to me Islam, and you do not know the name of your father, your prophet father. And you have all the answers. You know, you're a
Yes.
genius. Okay, you're a genius. You do not know the name of the Muhammad father. Okay, let us go down.
No, I know.
So-
I just wanted to confirm.
Okay, hold on. You're good to confirm. Okay, so now you are saying that after Allah He installed the faith, Muhammad now he know the name of the God.
No.
You said that a second
is
ago. You
not-
forgot.
Okay, it is not. It is not. You know, the names can be changed.
Okay, tell us.
The word
Okay,
Allah-
when Allah He installed the faith, what happened to Muhammad? What faith? What that faith? This faith, He put it inside his chest. Okay, what this faith will do now inside Muhammad? Go ahead.
So actually, if for this answer, I would like to say that I don't know much about the history. So I don't know that if Allah was the word Allah existed before Islam started or not. So
I thought Abraham you worship Allah. So before you don't know now.
yeah, he worshipped Allah.
So
Yeah.
Allah is exist. Okay,
Oh,
but now
so-
I want,
so you
I
gave
want you
answer
to
to
explain to me. Okay, now listen.
gave answer to your own
Allah He installed. You said Allah installed wisdom, so Muhammad can explain the Quran. Correct?
Yes,
Do you know what the word sex
you
means?
just gave answer to your own question that Abraham.
do you know what the word sex mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the word?
According to science.
No. What's the word?
According to science, if the man have orgasm first, the baby will be a boy. If the women have orgasm first, the baby will be a girl. Do you agree with this science? Or this is stupid science?
So have you tried that? Because we cannot know if we don't try.
Oh, we have to try it first. Okay, so I need to find the women now.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so now I'm
so
going to
how
find the
can-
women, and I will do that with her, and I will let you know after 9 months. Listen, I'm asking you. According to science,
Yeah.
according to science, if somebody says to me,
No, according to science, it is not. According to science, it is not like that.
it's not like that. Thank you very much. But your prophet, he said this. Everybody heard you. According to science, is not
you
like
haven't
that.
tried.
Here we go. You're a
Not
prophet
everything-
saying.
not-
so
not
now you said,
everything.
remember, you said that the prophet, after Allah, he installed wisdom. Now he can explain the Quran. And now your prophet explained
Okay.
the Quran. So he said, the messenger of Allah said, the man water is
Not
thick and
everything's-
white. Listen, and the women water is thin and yellow. Whichever of them comes first, the child resembles the parents.
Science doesn't know everything. I study science. What is the origin of all the?
A second ago,
Okay.
you said
Okay.
science don't
Answer
agree.
me according to
A second ago, you said science does not agree with this. This is wrong. Now you bite your tongue back and you say, "Oh, science does not know everything."
Yes, I never said that science know.
You just said
Everything.
it's
I
recorded.
never said that.
It's recorded.
How
You said the one who say this is wrong. It's you who said that. The one who says if the man have orgasm first, the baby will be a boy is wrong.
I didn't say that. I said
You
that
said
science
that.
does
It's
not.
recorded. It's recorded.
Science does not say. I said science does not say that. You can ask. You can ask
Exactly.
to
You
your
said science doesn't.
hands
Okay.
who are
You
in your
said
life.
science doesn't say that. You said science doesn't say that. So science is
Yes.
against this. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So Muhammad is wrong.
No. Science is correct. Science is correct. Science is
Okay.
correct in everything, but it
Science-
doesn't know everything.
Okay, but is it wrong here or right about if you have orgasm first, the baby will be a boy. If the women have orgasm first, the baby will be a guy. And the one who control that simply is the thick water of the man, which is the sperm, and women they have a sperm which is yellow and thin.
Yes, eggs are yellow.
Oh, eggs are yellow.
You know?
Okay, and they come out of the
Yeah.
vagina. And they come out of the vagina.
Yeah, you can Google it. You can Google it.
Okay,
you
guys.
don't be-
But here it says water. It says water. The water of the woman. Water. Is the egg is water? Like the women, she have an eggs like a fish. She have like a billion egg. She have one egg.
So okay, first you tell me that sperm of a woman is yellow, and now you are saying water of woman
My
is
friend,
yellow.
is women.
So have you seen the water
Do
of
women
woman?
have a sperm anyway?
No, you said that. Okay, I don't say
No,
that.
your
Women
prophet,
have.
your prophet saying that. Your prophet saying that the one have orgasm first, the baby will resemble him, so or her. So the water of the man is thick, and this is the semen. So he said the same water, and this is ejaculation, and the women water is yellow, and that is ejaculation too, and you will see it in the women vagina. Whoever of them comes first, the baby will resemble the parents. How in the word Muhammad, after installing a surgery, doing a surgery of wisdom, he says such a stupid thing?
Let me search the whole hadith. You have the hadith you have sent me is not all. So
Not all?
let's see.
No problem.
Yes.
I can show you Quran. Do you want to show you Quran? I can help you. We
No,
can.
no,
No,
I will help myself.
we can
Will
go to,
Salman
no,
ask
listen,
you?
I will help you more, my friend. I help you more. Here we go. Chapter 86, verse number
You only
6.
help in a negative way.
No problem. Okay, we'll see. Verse number 6 and verse number 7 it says, فَلْيَنْظُرَ الْإِنسَانَ مِمَّا خُلِقَ مِنْ مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ يَخْرُجُ مِنْ بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. So let the man see what he's created. He's created from water gushing forth. This is orgasm coming out. It's not an egg. It's a gushing forth. It's ejaculation. Proceeding from
Yes,
between
ejaculation.
proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. So the man have a backbone. This is where the sperm coming from. The women she have a she have a ribs, and this is where the sperm coming from. Do you agree that women she have testicles in her ribs?
No, woman does not have testicle. But how do you think this verse is wrong?
Because women, their sperm have nothing to do. You are the one who said to me women have an egg, correct?
No. In this verse, you said the gushing fluid one verse.
Yeah. So what about it? It's a gushing forth.
How is it wrong?
This is not the one is wrong. This
doesn't mean it-
look, hold on. This not only the one is wrong. Gushing forth, nothing wrong with it, because a man have ejaculation. Okay. Now the question is, it says he is created from water gushing forth, and this water, which is gushing forth, ejaculation, coming from the backbone of the man and the ribs of the women.
Okay, let me see. I will see myself.
Okay, here we go. And I will show you even the interpretation, so you don't say we are making things up. Here we go.
Yeah, no problem. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Yeah, you need to say
They were
Bismillah.
created from a spurting fluid, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs.
Okay.
They were created from a spurting fluid, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs.
Okay.
So is this wrong? Is this wrong?
So is the sperm of the man coming from the backbone?
No. But is it wrong? You say yes or no.
Well,
Then I
yeah,
will prove.
for sure it's wrong, because the sperm is not coming from the backbone of the man.
Okay. Now, can I prove you wrong?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You first go in Google and search the word emerge and know its meaning, what it means. Emerge means to come out.
Okay.
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 So
come out where?
now
Come out where?
go to-
Come out where?
Yes.
Come out where?
Let me tell you. Okay. Now go to Google and
Don't tell me
write
go to Google, my friend.
word.
I speak Arabic. Arabic is my first language. I do not need to translate that word. So I'm asking you now. It come out where?
No, you speak Arabic, but you do not speak
My
science.
friend,
So
I don't speak
telling you-
science. I'm not a scientist. You are the genius. I'm asking you. It come out.
Yeah,
come
no.
out where?
I'm not
It come
genius. I'm not
out.
this.
It come out. Come out where? Very simple. Don't tell me search Google. It come out where?
Yeah, I just want you to see the transportation of sperm. Then you will
Okay,
know.
I'm asking you. It come out where?
Okay. So you are asking me. Let me tell you,
Uh-huh.
but you will not believe me. Okay.
Okay.
The sperms when they leave the testicles, they go straight above. They do not leave the body.
Did you just say when they leave the testicles?
Yes.
Okay. So why Allah he did not say testicles? He said backbone.
Let me clear your doubts.
Okay.
Okay. So when they leave the testicles, they do not, they do not leave the body directly. They go up, all the way up from the penis, and they take U-turn. You know U-turn. They take U-turn, and they go, and then they go towards the penis. So when they go toward the penis, what is their direction? Their direction is from the center of the ribs and backbone towards the penis. So it is emerging out of
the sperm of the man go to the ribs.
Yes.
That's something.
So do you understand?
Now I understand, but my friend, the Quran says no. The Quran says that the ribs is the ribs of the women, and you are a fool. First, this is not what the Quran is saying. What you said to me is just stupid kids talking. Read with me carefully. He created
I
from
told
water.
you science.
Shut up and listen and read now. It's time to school you. He is created from water gushing forth, and this is your scholar Ibn Kathir. And he is explaining to you based on what Muhammad said. So he created from gushing forth, meaning the sexual fluid that come out bursting forth from the man and the women. So the baby is created from sexual fluid coming out from the man and the women. Okay, thus the child is produced from both of them by permission of Allah. And he continues saying, يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. He said, meaning the backbone of the man and the ribs of the women. Because the word taraib is a word used for women ribs.
Is this Ibn Kathir talking?
Yes, this is Ibn Kathir using the reference of your prophet. He's using the hate of your prophet.
Okay.
And this is the link. If you want,
so who was Ibn Kathir? Was he some companion of prophet?
He's just an idiot YouTuber, you know. He opened a channel on YouTube 800 years after Muhammad, and he want to refute the Christians, and now he's a genius. He's using Muhammad words to refute us, and he got us busted, as you see, because this is the discovery that women, they have a sperm coming from the bone of the man, the backbone.
Okay, everyone has their own interpretation.
This is not his
Everyone has their own
This
interpretation.
is not his interpretation. This is the interpretation of your prophet, because he is quoting your prophet.
Okay, show me the hadith where prophet says that.
Okay.
I will be.
All right, that is okay.
Show me the hadith where prophet says that. Not Ibn Kathir.
Okay, show me, guys.
I believe my
Show me,
prophet,
show me
prophet.
where. Okay, show me where the prophet says that. So now, if we show you where the prophet says that, you are not going to oppose.
Yes, yes.
right.
The prophet directly says himself.
All right. Okay, let's go and see the prophet saying. All right. This one is da'if. I don't want to show you da'if. Okay, let us see. Anyway, this is not the one I want. All right, let us read this hadith, and I will give you the link. Let us read this hadith, and this is Sahih. A woman, her name is Salima, Salim, sorry. She came to Muhammad.
Kindly send me.
Okay, let me send the link.
Muslim.
Went to the Messenger of Allah. This is a woman. She offered herself to have sex with the Prophet later. And she said, Apostle of Allah, Allah is not ashamed of truth. Is bathing necessarily for a woman when she see a sexual dream? So what happened to this woman? She was touching her vagina. She was enjoying herself. Upon that, the Messenger of Allah said, when she see the liquid between two brackets, the vaginal circulation, she have to wash. So this is what? This is a water in the vagina. It's orgasm. Okay. Salama, she said to the messenger, this is the wife of Muhammad, Allah messenger, does a woman have a sexual dream? And the fact, by the way, doesn't say, she did not say really that. She said, does the woman have orgasm, not tahtalim, not to say sexual dream. It says tahtalim, which means to have a sexual orgasm. The Prophet, he said, yes. Otherwise, and he insulted her. He says, cover your hand with dust. In what way then does her child resemble her? So your prophet claim that the women liquid in her vagina is the one responsible for having a baby, and the baby look like her. And that is a yellow
I
thing.
asked you where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about that verse. This is not about that verse.
Well, it's in there because you said to me, show me where your prophet says that. Your prophet hadith is quoted here. Read carefully with me. You are not reading, my friend. Read. Let's go
This is
back.
about sexual dream.
Yeah,
It is not about where the gushing liquid come
Okay,
out.
hold on. No, it's about a sexual dream, but he said this is about how the baby made. It's about a sexual liquid in her vagina, and it's yellow. Let us show you different hadith. Hold on. But let's go to Ibn Kathir. If we go to Ibn Kathir, it says here.
When you are going to
Read
make a seer, I see.
read carefully here. All right. It's a yellow and fine in texture. The child will not be born except from both of them. Who is the one saying
Yeah.
that? This is your prophet. Do we agree?
Yes, the child will not be born from both of them,
Okay.
except
So it's
yes.
yellow
I
and
agree on
fine
that.
in texture, and that is what the women ejaculation. Do we agree?
Yes, yellow. Yes, woman ejaculation
Okay.
is
So
yellow.
is it scientific true that women ejaculation and the water coming out from her vagina is the one who made the baby, or it is an egg inside we don't see?
No, it doesn't say about the woman. It says about the sperm. From sperm, the baby is born.
No, it says it's a woman, and the women water is thin and yellow. What's wrong with you? Let me show you again. Here we
Yeah.
go. Oh, hold on. Oh, man. I mean, you Muslims, you have no shame of keep lying non-stop and people are laughing. Read carefully again.
We don't like.
Read,
You are even not,
read carefully.
interpretation
Read carefully.
of prophet.
This is your interpretation. This is your problem, not mine. And your prophet, he is the one giving the interpretation to your scholars. They cannot say things up to them. They have to say according to the prophet. The prophet, he says so.
Self-interpret.
Hold on, hold
Scholars
on.
interpret
Hold on. Let us see. ماء الرجل. Read carefully. ماء الرجل, the water of the man, is thin. Sorry, thick and white. Does it say that?
Yes, it says that.
Okay. And the women waters is thin and yellow. Does it say that?
Yes.
Okay. Whichever of them comes first. Okay. It is about the coming, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now we go back to the previous hadith where Muhammad, he explained to the woman about what she see in the dream. If she see that water which is yellow in her vagina, she have to wash. The wife, she asked, do the women have discharge? He said to her, yes. Otherwise, how the baby resemble her? So the water, which is the discharge, coming from the women, is if she come first, the baby will resemble the mother. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, but this is what science teach? Or this is stupid?
What?
Is that what science teach,
No.
or this is stupid? Okay, don't you Muslims circumcise? Don't you Muslims circumcise women? Don't you Muslims circumcise women? Which mean women, they never have orgasm. So how she will have orgasm? No, women, they don't have orgasm. Look, read with me. Even the wife prophet, he never made her have orgasm. The wife of Muhammad, she said, and do the women have orgasm? Do the women have discharge? Read carefully. Salama, the wife of your prophet, says, this is the wife of Muhammad. Muhammad, he never gave her one orgasm. Read carefully. Salama smiled and said, does the woman get discharged? This is the wife exposing Muhammad. He cannot have sex. Does the woman have discharge? The woman, she is the wife, sleeping with Muhammad in bed every day, and she is asking the husband, what this woman she is talking about? Women, they have discharge.
Okay, now can I answer?
Okay, go answer.
Now can I answer?
Go ahead.
So, science says that women also discharge. Science says that.
Okay.
You can go study. Okay.
I know women
So
have this charge. I know that women have, don't need to study. I know women have this charge. But,
that's why I'm
but this is
saying
not
that
the
it's
question, you idiot. The question is that this charge which is coming out in the vagina, the yellow thin water, is what make the baby. And this what make the baby even a female. So the man have a
goodness.
sperm, the man
You
have a
don't-
sperm, the man have a sperm and it's white. The woman have a sperm and it's yellow. The woman's sperm coming from her ribs. This is what the Quran is saying, chapter 86, verse number 6 and 7 and 8.
Where is
And
the
the
word
man,
sperm used? Where
huh?
is the word sperm used? You keep assuming from yourself.
Okay, well, your prophet saying this is how the son resemble the father then, or the mother?
Yes, this is the, you know, if
Abdul,
this is
listen,
in this
okay, listen,
sperm
okay,
of-
listen,
is meant-
listen. Is the Quran using the word water for sperm? Does the Quran use the word water for sperm?
yes.
Okay. Does your prophet here
Starting
use?
fluid.
Okay. Does your prophet use here the word water?
Yes, for
Okay.
male.
So it's a sperm. So why are you playing a fool now?
Yes.
Number 3. I want you to search right now in Google and tell me how long does sperm live inside a woman after sex?
Okay, I will do it for you.
Okay, give me an answer, please. Help me.
How long? How long does the sperm live in woman?
Okay.
Sperm woman.
What Google told you?
Okay, when sperm are alive, woman inside woman's body, they can live for up to 5 days.
5
if you are a
days.
man and
So,
you have sex, even
okay, I have a friend. He is a Middle Eastern, not educated. He said that he had sex with his wife, and he did not have sex with her for 40 days, and then after that, one of his sperm, which was inside her, made her have a baby. Do you agree with that?
yes,
You agree?
yes,
He's a Christian.
yes, I agree.
You agree?
Because he's not only referring to the sperm, he's referring to all the nutrients that will be given to sperm
No, he's
to mature it.
he's referring only to the sperm. He said after 40 days, the sperm did boom boom, and they made her, the women have a baby. You agree with that?
Yes, according to science, it's no, but
According to science, it's no, but no. Yeah, because
science is wrong.
because now look how hypocrite you are. Just because you know that your prophet is the one who said that, you know what is coming. So you say, I agree with him. Okay, read carefully and laugh. So Google
Okay,
says,
show me where he
shut
said
up,
that.
Abdul, shut up. Come on, shame on you. People are laughing. This is how you change your statement in a second. The second your prophet
on
says
you. You are
so listen. Okay, I asked you, can you search for me in Google how long the sperm can live inside the woman? You said 5 days. Do you agree?
Yes,
Did your prophet say that sperm live inside the women for 40 days?
show me the hadith.
The truthful, the messenger of Allah, the truthful and the receiver of the truth. Remember, he received the truth. They install with truth inside them. They install wisdom now and knowledge. Informed us saying, the creation of you, human, is gathered in the form of a semen in the mother belly, not womb, في بطن أمه, to the
Okay,
up to
let me
40 days.
let me search that.
What search?
Sperm inside.
Already you told us it's 5
Sperm
days.
for
Already you told
sperm
us.
for 40.
Already you told us that sperm can live for 5 days maximum. And now this is your prophet, after the surgery, after Allah, he made a surgery for his penis and his chest and his whatever. Now Muhammad is wise. The wise Muhammad is making poo-poo.
I do not find any hadith. Can you show me?
Okay, let me
Here
show
I
you.
am
Okay.
searching.
Don't search, no need to search. Here we go, let me send it to you. Here we go, I will send it to you. Here we go. Open it and read it. Go ahead. And remember, all those stupid things happened after Muhammad. He got a plastic surgery for his chest, installing wisdom and faith. So if this is
Yeah,
after the surgery,
let me see. And after that, I would also like to know why you become so pessimistic.
I like comedy all my life. I like comedy. What do you think about the prophet says to me that my penis will be endless?
The
That is
creation of you humans
that
is
is the
gathered
most
in the
laughable
form of
thing
semen
ever.
in the womb of your mother for 40 days. Yeah. The creation of you humans is gathered in the form of semen in the womb for you.
See,
You know
senor.
the
Yeah.
word semen.
See, okay.
The word
Amigo,
semen
yeah. See what?
Yeah. See the creation of you. The
Okay.
creation does not come from semen. Semen is given nutrients from all around the body.
Ah,
So
okay.
it is 40 days.
Ah.
You can't say sperm. It does not say the sperm is collected.
No, it says that. It says it's collecting. You are collected as a semen. You are collected in the form of a semen. Stop lying. It's in the front of your eye. It's gathered. It's gathered in a form of semen. Potato. You see, I'm having patience with you because we are out of potatoes, and you are the only potato who call me. But you are the most stupid potato ever I spoke to, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't
I
say
would
that. It
like
doesn't
to.
say that. It's in the front of your eyes. It's
I
gathered
would
in
like
the
to. I
form
would like
of...
to read.
Just shut up, man. Just go. Let your dad call me. Stupid idiot. See how much patience you need to when you talk to those idiots? And people, they say to me, you don't have patience. If I don't have patience, who have patience? If any of you talk to this guy, 2 minutes, he will, you will lose your mind. I mean, they keep defending, lying, and it's in the front of them. The prophet said the sun set in a muddy water. No, it's metaphorical. Look, what metaphorical? The sun travel, i.e. travel, goes. It goes under the throne of Allah. But don't you know how the throne of Allah? Okay, the throne of Allah. Hold on, let's go there. Allah, he go down to the lowest heaven. Is Allah moving? They are like a chicken from a branch to a branch, and the only way is to cut their wings. And we do. So I had patience with you, my friend, to show everybody how fool you are. Doesn't say semen in Arabic? No, it does. It says nutfa. Nutfa is a drop of semen. You're a dummy like your prophet. It doesn't say semen in Arabic. No, it does. Nutfa. And Muhammad actually is quoting the Quran, idiot. So you are 40 days as a nutfa, and nutfa is a drop of semen. Let us go to the Quran and show you. Get you busted, Abdul. Potato. A bunch of potatoes. خلق الإنسان من نطفة. You see it? نطفة. علقة. نطفة. Read carefully, Abdul. ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة. We made the sperm into a congealed blood. This is what nutfa means. Nutfa is a drop of a sperm. So you are collected. Now we can go to the interpretation. Everybody will laugh at you. Because if the word sperm is not there, if the word semen is not there, then no interpretation should mention it. Stupidity. So you see how desperate they are trying? Oh, it doesn't say there in Arabic semen. You know what? I mean, this is an answer of a stupid fool, because if it does not, why you Muslims say it's a semen? You idiot. If it does not say that, why you Muslim, in your Muslim website, you translate it as semen? If it was zucchini. I mean, do you see the stupidity, guys? It doesn't say in a form. Get lost, get lost. Get out of here. That's mean you Muslims are a bunch of liars. Get out of here. Because if you say it doesn't say that, it's mean you Muslims, you lie about what your prophet is saying. Thank you. Each time a Muslim says it doesn't say that, you see, for me it's okay to say that because I accuse Muslim to lie defending Islam. But you idiot, when you say it doesn't say that, it's mean you Muslims, you lie about your translation. You get the point? If I say it doesn't say that, people understand I'm a Christian trying to get them busted with their false translation. But you Muslim complain about the Muslim translation because the Muslim translation got you busted. And you know what? I'm going to give you a solution for this. You are receive the true, okay, and then he says, you are the creation of you, a human, gathered in a form, I will take the word semen, in the womb. What is that? For 40 days. Take the word semen, I will take it off. Give me the replacement for semen, you idiot. Just give me a replacement because now it's not semen. If it's not form, give me a translation. Cowards, shameful. The only way for Islam to live is to lie. Without lie, Islam die. So we have to jump like monkeys from a place to a place, trying to deny all the stupid things Muhammad he said. This is different hadith. This is Sahih Muslim. This is your translation. It doesn't say that, CP. This is your translation. It doesn't say that, CP. This is your Muslim. This doesn't say that, CP. Okay. The creation of any of you is like this, that semen is collected, here it says a womb, at the mother of the mother for 40 nights. Do you see it? So you, again, you Muslim, you make the same mistake, you keep saying semen, you idiot. Shame on you. You are fired. I'm not going to hire a Muslim to translate the hadith of the Prophet, no more. Shame on you. The Prophet says zucchini, you put semen. The Prophet says a cucumber, you put semen. The Prophet says falafel, you put semen. What's wrong with you? You're stuck with semen, aren't you? Ah, you are a semen person. Anything for those translators is a semen. Semen nation. You see, in the form of a nutfa. What is nutfa? Is a drop. Drop of what? Drop of semen. Idiot. So you are a semen for 40 days, and then you are a semen as a dead blood for 40 days. And then you are a lump for 40 days. The total is 120 days. Dr. Muhammad, after the surgery, is more stupid than before the surgery. Remember the guy, he said, Allah, he installed the wisdom in the Prophet so he can explain the Quran, brother. He can understand the Quran, brother. Why Allah did not make surgery for Isa and for Moses and for Abraham? I mean, how stupid Muhammad was to the point he needed plastic surgery to fix him. What you are confirming to us, that Muhammad is not qualified like the others to explain Allah's words, to understand Allah's words, to the point Allah, he needed to make a plastic surgery for him. He was so fool, so stupid, so dummy, to the point I cannot send him like this to be a messenger. I need to fix him. So what Allah he do? He sent a messenger, sorry, a doctor, an angel, and this angel, he cut open his chest, and then he bring a dish of faith. What a shameful statement. Muhammad have no faith. This guy who called us, he said Muhammad before that day, he don't even know the name of Allah. So how Muhammad get the name of Allah? The angel, he installed a dish, and the dish there, it says, Allah, God name is Allah. Look at this genius. How Muhammad knew the name of his God? He didn't know the name. Allah, he got a dish of faith. He put it in the chest of the Prophet, and the Prophet opened his eyes, and then he started saying, Alhamdulillah. Hey Muhammad, do you want to eat? Alhamdulillah. Hey Muhammad, Zakir Naik is here. Alhamdulillah. Christian Prince is here. It's not Alhamdulillah. But this is stupidity. And isn't it Muslim, they say, if Allah, he wants something, he say be is going to be? Huh? Isn't it the Quran says, if Allah wants something to happen, he say kun fayakun? Be is going to be. Chapter number 2, verse 117. If Allah wants something to happen, he said to it be, and it is. So how come Allah could not make Muhammad faithful without a surgery? How Allah could not make Muhammad wise without a surgery? Who is the foolish here? Either this story is fabricated by Muhammad, or this story is true. If it's true, this is contradiction for the Quran. Because Allah, he don't need to do this. Allah, he said to Muhammad, be wise, he will be wise. Ah, I forgot. Allah, he said to Muhammad, read. Still Muhammad, he died, he cannot read according to Muslims. Not like Jesus. Jesus said to the dead man, raise from the grave, he rose. Jesus said to the man who cannot walk, walk, he walked. See, he saw. Allah, he squeezed Muhammad 3 times, still Muhammad, he says to him, I cannot read. I cannot read. And the idiot in Jibreel kept squeezing him. I mean, did you get enough for squeezing? All the stories of Muhammad are stupid. When the angel, he squeezed Muhammad first time, and he told him read. Do the angels know that Muhammad do not know how to read? Huh? Okay, Muhammad told him now, I cannot read. Let's say the angel was stupid. He told him, according to Muslim, I do not know how to read. Why the angel keeps squeezing him again and says read? Stupid story. And he squeezed him, entered the guy, the poor Muhammad cannot breathe. Read carefully. The angel come to him, and he asked him to read. The Prophet replied, I do not know how to read. Then the Prophet said, the angel cut me forcefully, and he pressed me so hard until I could not breathe anymore. Then he released me. What a squeezing party. Muslims, anyone knows why the angel squeezed Muhammad? Anyone knows? It's a challenge for the Muhammadan to tell me why the angel squeezed Muhammad. What the connection between squeezing Muhammad and reading? The angel said, read. Muhammad said to him, I cannot read. Why is he squeezing him? The angel again repeating, saying, read. Muhammad said, I cannot read. He squeezed him again. Why? The angel, he said to him 3rd time, read. Muhammad, he said, what the heck with this guy? I can't read. And he squeezed him for the 3rd time. First, why it's a 3 time? Number 2, what squeezing did to Muhammad? Did he understand now anything? No. Muhammad, he went to his wife, he's scared, terrified. She took him to her daddy, Uncle Waraqa, which is the real father of Muhammad. She told him, this guy, look what he saw. Explain to him, Muhammad, tell him what happened. The guy who did not see the angel, he was not squeezed, no mayonnaise came out. Waraqa bin Nawfal, he is not the guy being squeezed. He told him, this is Jibreel. Look, what the heck? The guy who was not there, he is more guided from the Prophet. The guy who is not even a Muslim, he knew this is Jibreel. The one who been squeezed, He is the last one to know. Muhammad is always the last one to know. His wife sleeping with Safwan, he is the last one to know. Muslims reciting Quran wrong, he is the last one to know. Shaitan give him satanic verses, he is the last one to know. Any Abdul? Why he squeezed him 3 times? Nobody can answer the question. And you know what? If Allah is the one, who is the one saying read? This is Allah. Is it Allah who told Jibreel, when you say to him read, and he say, I don't know, squeeze him? Okay, it must be Allah, because Jibreel don't do things from his own. So what this squeezing did? Did Muhammad understood after the squeezing what is happening, what's going on? No, still he's ignorant. So what this story is about? And not to forget to mention, he is an Indonesian. How you know he's Indonesian? Did you speak to him, Carolina? Did you speak to him? Mostly this is Ultimate Ford, the kid from Nigeria. All the story is a stupid story. And by the way, where in the hadith it says he said to him read? He did not say to him read. Isn't it the Muslim that say the word Iqra al-Quran mean to recite the Quran? So how he said to him read? Obviously the stupid Muhammad did not know Arabic very well. The correct answer, yes, he said to him Iqra, which is read, not recite. Because Qara'a is an Aramaic word coming from the 2 words Qarra wa Ra'a. Ra'a means he saw, Qarra he said. So he said what he saw, not he what he heard. So if the angel did not give him papers, why he saying to him to read? And if he gave him papers, why he said to someone who do not know how to read, read? And if it's recitation, that would be stupid more. Why? Because Muhammad already, he recited what the angel said. The angel said to him, Iqra. Muhammad, he says, I cannot do Iqra. He just recited. So it doesn't make sense. Guys, look at this. Look at this. Look at the smart answer. The reason, brother, look how much they squeeze their head to come with an answer. This is the new answer now. Look at this. The reason that Jibreel, brother, he squeezed him because the prophet, he saw him before in a dream. So to show him that this is the reality, not a dream, you idiot. The guy is asleep. He's not. Secondly, I will go with you. He squeezed him first time. Is it enough? Second time, isn't it enough? After 3 dreams, did your prophet get it? Still no. He squeezed him 3 times, still he do not know what's happening. So this is a silly answer. Your prophet was not asleep. Your prophet squeezed not only once. After 3 squeezing, still Muhammad do not know who is this guy, and he have no idea what's happening. So to show him, did he show him? He did not. He failed. The guy, he went to his wife, he said to her, cover me, cover me. He started making crazy noise. His body is shaking, his muscle is shaking. He have epilepsy. It's obvious. Muhammad is mentally ill, and it's proven by Muslims' mouth and their books. All Muslims agree that Muhammad, he was bewitched, and he imagined seeing things. In fact, he never did. Is that true? Absolutely. Which is proving that Muhammad, obviously, all the stories he said is from his imagination. Read with me carefully, and this is Sahih al-Bukhari, which is very authentic. It says, once the Prophet was bewitched, so he began to imagine that he had done a thing which in fact he had not done. Anyone who study, he's a doctor, he will know that this is a symptom of something bigger. Hearing voices, imagining doing things, this is a symptom of something else. The Arab at that time, they cannot explain it, so they say somebody put magic on him. But here Muhammad case or symptoms became so clear to the point everybody noticed that he is just imagining things. Now, as long the wife and the Muslims agree that Muhammad, he imagined things, in fact, those things never happen, how we can trust the Quran he received? When I was in the army, there's a person who was released from the army for a very simple reason. He hear voices. He hear voices. He talked to them. They talk to him. That is Muhammad. Kusar saying that the Prophet was bewitched for 6 or 12 months. Look what you just did, my friend. You just destroyed Islam. And actually, you know, like we have recording a video of a debate with a Muslim. He says the same as you said. It was a 12-month, took Allah 12 months to release the bewitching of Muhammad. But hold on, Muhammad at that time was receiving Quran. So Muhammad was receiving Quran, seeing Jibreel for 12 months, and he was not seeing Jibreel. Because you just said it took Allah 12 months, and look how weak is Allah. I mean, this religion is the most stupid cult ever. How in the Quran it says if Allah wants something, he say B is going to be. Huh? B is going to be. Chapter 2, verse 117. And then it took Allah all this time to fix Muhammad bewitching. Like what happened? Allah, he went to his kitchen. What we will do now, we have to send him verse after verse after verse, and that will cure him. "12 months of Allah sending verses, giving Muhammad medicine. After 12 months, Muhammad was cured? He was not, still stupid. 1 year Muhammad is receiving revelation, or it was imagination? Actually, even Muhammad 6 was fake, because the hadith says so. The hadith says that Muhammad, he imagined himself having sex. In fact, he never did. Read carefully. Aisha is the sex reporter. Thank God that at that time there's no Facebook. Other Aisha, she will publish all the laundry of Muhammad in Facebook. I mean, this woman, there was no Facebook at that time, and look what she's doing. All the laundry of Muhammad is out. Hey, people, the Prophet, he cannot have sex. He imagined himself having sex with us, but in fact, he was not. He was holding the pillow. Sometimes he held the goat. Allahu Akbar. Please publish this in Twitter. I mean, this woman is a scandal by herself. What kind of a woman? She go in the street and she tell the situation of her husband's penis. Is she proud? So if Kusar, our friend Kusar here, it says, it affect only special life. What is the proof? If he is bewitched, it's mean he is under the control. He is imagining. I see it, as you see, it says he imagined he done a thing. In fact, he did not. Even his sex is fake. What's wrong with bewitched? Look at this guy. Secondly, how Allah, he protected Muhammad, and then he is bewitched. It affect only one thing. Who said so? Like what? His penis? Can you give us the list of things it's affecting Muhammad because of the bewitching, brother? I want you to write for me the list. I will put it in the screen. I promise you. What is exactly was affecting Muhammad by bewitching? Write a list for us, please. If you don't mind. As you see, it's affecting his penis. What else? He had done a thing, but in fact he did not. So the guy is imaginary. Everything, even his action, you know, he imagined he did. He lost his mind. CP only refutes Sunni. He cannot refute Shia. There's no need to refute Shia. Shia refute themselves. Did you see the video I just made a few weeks ago about the Muslim Shia Imam quoting the hadith that Muslim Sunni, they are homosexual because Shaitan, he put finger in their anus? Why? Because they are not Shia, Allah don't protect them? Who said I don't? Shia or Sunni, they have the same stupid stories. If you go right now to the Arabian Prophet account, other account I have, you will see how the Shia scholar, Sheikh Yasir al-Habib, saying that Muslim Sunni, because they are Muslim Sunni, Allah don't protect them. And how and why? Because simply they are not Shia, brother. So he allows Shaitan to finger them, finger the Muslim Sunni, and he make all the Sunni homosexual. My internet is not doing good. I'm trying to play the thing for you, but it's not working. You know, I never thought about, hold on, let's see him, which is very funny. I mean, to him in the
لاحظوا ما رواه العياشي عن إمامنا جعفر بن محمد الصادق صلوات.
This is coming from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq saying, this is like God for them, you know, Ja'far al-Sadiq. He is saying that the Sunni are homosexual because this is what Al-Imam Al-Ayyashi, he reported it from the Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. May Allah pray on him.
الله عليهما يقول ما من مولود يولد إلا وإبليس من الأبالسة بحضرته.
Not a single person he was giving birth, but yet one of the Iblis, which Shaitan, Satan, he is next to him in the present of his time of, you know, his mother giving birth to him.
يكون واحد من الأبالسة يكون حاضر في وقت ولادة المولود.
One of the Satans, he will exist in the time of giving birth for this new infant. This is a must. Okay? Go ahead.
فإن علم الله أنه من شيعتنا، إن علم الله أن هذا المولود من شيعتنا حجبه من ذلك الشيطان.
If Allah knew, which is very funny, I mean, so Allah do not know. I thought Allah is the one who decides if he will be Shia or Sunni. So if Allah, he knew that this baby or new baby, newborn baby, he is going to be a Shia, Allah will hide him from Shaitan. That's it. The Shaitan who is there, yes, he is in the room, but because he is Shia, Allah will hide him. Okay.
الله يحجبه من ذلك الشيطان.
Allah will put a veil on him so Shaitan cannot see him.
فلا يتمكن الشيطان من أن يطعن فيه أو يؤذيه.
So Shaitan, when Allah he hide this baby because he's a Shia, that's why Allah protect him, Shaitan cannot punish him and he cannot do harm to him.
وإن لم يكن من شيعتنا.
And if he is not a Shia,
أثبت الشيطان إصبعه السبابة في دبره.
And then if he is not a Shia, which means a Muslim Sunni like Abu Bakr, Umar, all those Muslim Sunni, you see them in YouTube, Allah will make the shaitan put his finger in their anus.
فكان مأبونا.
And that will make him a gay. All right, where's the guy who said you cannot do that to the Shia? You have the most funny stories. According to your hadith, if a person who wear black shoes, his penis will not stand up. Al-Mahdi, if he fail, he will fail in his ass and he will not fart. A man, if he has sex with his wife from behind and he look at her, his son will become mute. You Shia are supposed to have better stories? You're funny. And Muslim Sunni, they are no better. They are the same garbage too. I mean, both of you. And all of this is coming from your Prophet Muhammad, supposedly. But, what Muslims are busy about is how Prophet of Allah look like. Oh, hold on. How Prophet of Allah look like. How Prophet of Allah look like.
And for some, this would be the first time you hear what your Prophet looked like. I saw a man of striking appearance.
Look at the action and look at the back effect news, like a sound. I saw a man with a striking. It's like a gay club, man. I mean, this is describing for a man.
ظاهر الوضاء أبلج الوجه radiant face حسن الخلق beautifully created لم تعبه الثجلة his belly wasn't protruding. It's
very important to tell us about the belly of Muhammad. I mean, we need details, my brother. Do you have more details? Testicles, penis, his ass. Do you have more details? Fingers. Well, what else you want to tell us? His belly? What about his belly bump? Come on. I mean, we arrived at the belly. Don't stop there.
ولم تزر به السعلة.
He will describe even his cuff.
Nor was his head disproportionate and small. وسيم قسيم, proportionate and delicate, finely made, a specimen of a creation. في عينيه دعج, in his eyes there was a contrast.
Brother, females. How many females now fell in love? Tell us more.
The dark was immensely dark. The white was excessively white. وفي أشفاره وطف, and his eyelashes were long.
Stop. His eyelashes what? Brother, we reached the point we are describing the eyelashes of the beloved Prophet of Allah. And that supposedly will make us believe that Muhammad is a prophet of God. What this famous actor, Alain Delon, he must be God. Always I wanted to have a prophet like that. How we know a prophet he is a prophet or not? This is a serious question. How we know if a prophet is a prophet? He should have long eyelashes. And the Muslim, they keep going in the explanation. They say to you that the prophet, he have the power of 40 men of heaven, which means 4,000 men in sex. All of this to describe Muhammad. And look, we don't worship Muhammad. And who can guarantee that Muhammad even looked like that? Tell us more, brother.
فاره وطف, and his eyelashes were long. وفي صوته صهل, and in his voice was a natural echo.
Brothers and sisters, today I'm going to show you the natural echo. I have my voice. Because I'm a prophet. I'm going to show you the echo, which proves that I am a prophet. If somebody don't have echo in his voice, he is not a prophet. There's certain things we have to find in a prophet. You have to have echo. You have to have eyelashes, lashes. You have to nice belly button. You have to have nice legs. His voice have a natural echo. So when Muhammad he recites Quran, he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Him. Alhamdulillah, la ilaha illa Rahmanir Rahim. What the heck is that, man? I'm getting dizzy with this. Tell us more, brother. Oh, let us skip this garbage. You know, there's a part where I like most on this video. He described how sexy he is. Sexy Muhammad, come on, sexy Muhammad. Who is more sexy than Muhammad? We have to admit. The whole video is about how sexy Muhammad is. So now there's a guy. He was walking in the street at night. And then he looked at the moon. Look, the moon is coming in the background.
Rasulullah. Anas ibn Malik says, he says, I came out one night. I came out one night.
This guy is having an orgasm, literally. Look, you are describing Muhammad doing that? Okay. So you were coming in the street at night, and what happened, brother?
I came out one night that was the full moon night.
Yeah. And look how emotional he gets. Look at the emotional. Look at the emotion of, he's losing his voice. He cannot talk no more. He's getting so emotional because he's so sexy. Look, he will tell you a story, even though he repeated the story a million times before, but he's getting so emotional because the prophet's face is so hot, so sexy. Tell us, brother. And don't forget to put some tears in your eyes because so good to be true. He cannot talk. See, he put his hand up and he want to tell you now how the prophet face look like. He's out of words. It's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. Put yourself in his shoes or in his panty.
And I looked at the moon, and in the desert, understand, the moon is an awesome sight. It is smooth, it is radiant, it is clear, it is gentle compared to the scorching sun at which they are used to. So the moon was the epitome of beauty. So he says, I came out at a full moon night and I looked at the moon.
Stop. This guy is reporting a true story, brother. It was dark at night, very dark. The moon is in the sky, brother. The guy, he looked at the moon. And here were the
and I saw it, beautiful, handsome. So I said,
what? The moon was beautiful, handsome? This religion have a thing for everything. The moon was handsome? Okay, I got it.
Looked at the moon and I saw it, beautiful, handsome. So I said, let me go see if the moon is more handsome or my prophet.
Now I have a decision. Today I'm going to go and check. I will compare. I will do an unboxing on YouTube. I will unbox the moon for you, brother, and I will unbox Prophet Muhammad, and we will see how much the power of light. Who is more? LED is better. Today we will do a scientific study to see exactly how many luminous the moon have and how many limousine the prophet have. Lemon and limousine, what is that? I mean, who cares, man? This is Islam. You can say whatever you want. As long as you are praising Muhammad, just throw it there. They will love it.
Handsome. So I said, let me go see if the moon is more handsome or my prophet is more handsome. Let me see if that is more beautiful or the prophet is more beautiful.
Did you see, did you hear the word beautiful? I mean, aren't they ashamed? The beautiful Muhammad? Okay, I will make like a video called Beautiful Muhammad, the pretty Muhammad. Our topic, the pretty Muhammad. Beautiful? We are talking about a man. The beautiful Muhammad. Okay.
Is more beautiful or the prophet is more beautiful. So I went and I saw him standing afar. So I looked at his face and I looked at the moon and I looked at his face and I looked at the moon and I looked at his face and I looked at the moon.
Stop, man. What happened exactly? I look at his face, I look at the moon, I look at his face, I look at the moon, I look at his face, I look at the moon, I look at his face, I look at the moon, I look at his face, I look at the moon, I look at the face, and I look at the moon. Excuse me? I mean, shouldn't Muhammad so bright right away? We do not need more than 2 looks. You are insulting the Prophet now. If I am there, I will make Muhammad look from the first look. I mean, when? You are insulting the Prophet, brother. The guy, he looked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times at the moon, at Muhammad, to see which one is more shiny. He needed 10 times to find out. Shame. He should find out from the first look. I mean, how in the world you do that? You just insulted the Prophet of Allah. I mean, even how in the world the guy, he have to look twice, or thrice, or thrice, or 5 or 7 size, or 10 eyes? Shouldn't Muhammad win the competition from the first look? What kind of a companion he is, this companion? Shame on you. Prophet Muhammad should win immediately. We do not need even to look at the moon, you idiot. The moon himself was looking at the Prophet. And the moon, he said, look at me. I'm out of light compared to this man. He's so white. So handsome. I don't know really what to say. But I have a feeling that Muhammad, he was way more than just a prophet for the Muhammad. I don't know if you agree with me or not. Tell us more, brother.
At the moon, and I saw it, beautiful, handsome. So I said, let me go see if the moon is more handsome or my prophet is more handsome. Let me see if that is more beautiful or the prophet is more beautiful. So I went and I saw him standing afar. So I looked at his face and I looked at the moon and I looked at his face and I looked at the moon and I looked at his face and I looked at the moon, and he said, Wallahi, he was more handsome than the moon.
I pick to the beat, walking down the street and my new the freak, yeah. This is how I roll, animal print pants out control. It's Red Food with the big ass bra, and like Bruce Lee, I got the clout, yeah. Girl, look at that body.
What is that? This is a song.
That is just the look of your Rasul. Aisha radiyallahu anha says, I was sewing with the needle. My needle dropped in the dark. I couldn't find it. I said, Ya Rasul, I can't find it. He moved his face close, and I swear, out of the radiance of his face, I found my needle.
Muhammad is a flashlight. Aisha at dark, she cannot find things. She asked the Prophet to move his face. And because his face is so white and so bright, she was able to find the needles in the dark.
Girl, look at that body. I work out. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body.
You have to admit that Muhammad is sexy, and you know it. Right? Right? Muslims, what is the point of this video? He is sexy and you know it? What is that, man?
I'm sexy and I know it.
Stop there. Aisha, she was able to find the needle by asking the Prophet to move his face toward the spot in the ground. That's way above what I can handle. And now we have to admit, the Prophet was so sexy. Oh, hold on. I thought the Quran saying that Allah, he did plastic surgery to fix the breast of the Prophet. So how he was so sexy and Allah is fixing his breast? Huh? The first plastic surgery done for a man was not for a man from Thailand. It was for a man from Arabia. Read the verse with me, brother. What is the verse? Hold on. Let me go, hold on. A prophet who Allah did the plastic surgery for his chest. Have we not caused the bosom to delight? Maybe this translation is wrong, you know. This is Biktar. Let us see a different one. Hilali and Khan. What? Have we not opened your breast for you? What? Allah, he opened the breast for Muhammad. What does that mean? Change translation, because this guy, I don't know, it's confusing me. Maybe better translation we can get. Yusuf Ali. Have we not expanded the breast? What? Allah, he did a booby surgery for the Prophet. Sorry, I cannot show you pictures of booby now. That will be inappropriate. But this is what it's fit for this. Oh, I found something. We can use it. Okay. So Allah, brother, he noticed that the boobies of the Prophet are not in good size. So Allah expanded his breast. Look how Allah is busy. Allah is making surgery to clean his chest, to clean his belly. Allah installing a dish of wisdom. Allah installing a dish of faith. Allah is fixing the breast of Muhammad, expanding his breast. Allah is sending through 12 months verses to cure Muhammad from bewitched. I mean, this man Muhammad, he made Allah so busy. I feel sorry for Allah, honestly. I mean, this guy, he was keeping Allah so occupied. Surgery after surgery after surgery to fix him. Huh? And then, and we removed the burden. The burden of Muhammad was in his bosom, his breast. You know what? I know it. That why women, they have breast? You think about it. Obviously, because they have a burden there. So Allah, he expanded the breast of Muhammad. In the same time, he removed from inside the breast the burden. And he put silicones, obviously. That's deep. Plastic surgery is haram. This guy is saying plastic surgery is haram. So why Allah he did? Isn't it Allah cutting the chest of Muhammad, installing a dish of wisdom, a dish of this is plastic surgery? Isn't it this verse in the front of you is a plastic surgery? What are you talking about? So what we were reading all the last 2 hours about your prophet, the angel cutting his chest and installing a dish of wisdom, a dish of faith in his chest. And now you are coming back to me, says to me, plastic surgery is haram. And no, it's not. Let me ask you, what is the reason plastic surgery is haram? The one who said the plastic surgery is haram. Maybe, a Muslim, who can help us? Why plastic surgery is haram? Well, my Skype is off now. We have enough for today with callers and stupidity. Why plastic surgery is haram? Any Muslim can tell me? Is not covered by insurance. Who care about this insurance now? What those guys are talking about? Hey, hello. This is a topic about religion, not about insurance. Nothing is covered by insurance. You see, insurance companies, the only good thing about them, they take your check. When something happens, they do not know you. They will find 1 million excuse not to cover you. So all those who practice buying insurance, they are fooling themselves, especially in America. That's why they send you like 100 pages in a small, tiny letter, so you cannot read them. And nobody complain in the Congress. You see, have you ever heard of such a contract? They send you a contract nobody can read. It's haram because it's changing how Allah made you. Adam, that's deep. Adam, from now on, brother, I'm going to make you an admin when the chat is closed, which means when I'm not live on air. Guys, look what Adam he said, and this is showing us the ignorance and the stupidity of Islam. Plastic surgery is haram because doing that, you are changing how Allah made you. So why you do circumcise the man? And why you do circumcise the women? Are you there? As long as changing the way Allah made you is haram. So why you are doing circumcision? Didn't Allah make you the way you are? Idiot. This is my problem with those who speak to me. I cannot find somebody have an intelligence level to talk to. No, people don't think. People, they throw things, you know. Allah, He want to keep you because this is how Allah, He made you. But you Muslim, you don't keep the man how he was made. You don't keep the woman how she was made. You go far, even circumcised, to cut the whole thing of the women. Didn't your prophet, he made his hair red? You want to be red, pretty, blondie? Well, Allah make you have a gray hair. Keep it a gray hair. See the hypocrisy? So when they want, it is haram. When they want, it's okay. As long as Muhammad did it, it's fine. When Allah, He cut the chest of Muhammad, installed dishes, and this plastic surgery, this is adjustment. This is adjustment. Inserting something inside the body of a human being is what the plastic surgery do. Plastic surgery, they don't make you have a new breast. They just push some cushions and silicone and etc. Here we go. Your prophet, he got that. Well, we are not the one who's making excuse saying you don't change how God made you. For us, we get circumcised because God said that in the Bible. So if you don't want to change the way Allah is, so you should not obey anyone who says to you, change the way Allah He made you. Isn't it Muhammad? He put eyeliner 3 times. He colored his hair. Do Muhammad use sugar to take hair from his body? Isn't this is a change in the way you look like? How Allah made you? Allah made the man with hair in his body. Why you take it off? And why a prophet of God? He used sugar to remove hair from his let us see. Read carefully with me, but I want to see if I can find it in English first. If Allah, He gave you hair in your chest or around your private part or in your legs, Muhammad, He used to take hair from all his body. Here we go. He began with his private area, coating it with hair, removing, etc. And his wife, you know, and then he do all his body. All his body. Muhammad, he shaved hair from all his body by sugar. This is what girls do in the Middle East. There's no man who do that. It's a shame in the Middle East to do that for a man. Everybody know that. Only women, they do such a thing. This man, who is he have time for hair in his body? Why? What for? It's an insult for me. Maybe some people in Europe, they do that, but for me, it's an insult to take hair from my body. Why? Why I want to do that? I will look like a girl? What, Muhammad, you want to look pretty? He's going to go in the bikini in the beach? So how we should not change the way Allah, He made you, and then you do all of this. He color his hair red. He take the hair of his body. He want to be like look like a girl. He do circumcision, plastic surgery for his chest. Crazy stuff. Anyway, if there is Muslim would like to call us and speak to us, maybe the next time. For now, I think we have enough. We are here for more than 4 hours total. Don't forget to download my videos because I don't keep them. People, they ask me later, where is the video? Why come I cannot find it, my friend? If you care, download it. If you don't care to download, subscribe to those who download my videos because they copy, they download, they post it there. So always you can search for the same title or something similar. And let's say after a week, this video is gone. Search in YouTube the last month or last week for the same title. You will find it posted by many places. No, Adam, sorry, I have to go already. It's 4 hours already. You know, I'm not really tired of talking as much. I'm tired from sitting. You know, I hate it to sit for long. It's not comfortable and it's not healthy. And sitting and looking at the screen for 4 hours is not a good thing. Anyway, maybe next time, Mr. Adam, you are welcome to call us when we go live on air. All right? And we will be happy to hear you. Get ready. All right? Quality of live video. My friend, there's nothing to talk about there. I don't know what to do, you know? I mean, and you know, I notice when you talk to people about personal stuff, they get offended. People get offended because I'm a person who say things as it is, you know? I don't sugarcoat things. So maybe it's not a good idea. Always, you know, in life you have to make choices, and obviously Islam is a bad, very bad choice for anyone. Because Islam, the first thing it does, it kills your brain. It doesn't allow you to think. Because thinking is not allowed in Islam. Questioning is forbidden. Chapter 5, verse 101 says, ask not questions of things which made plain for you. Why? Verse number 502 explain, because if you do that, you will leave the faith, and if you do that, we will kill you. So Islam is very clear in that. It's a religion where nothing there makes sense. In the same time, you cannot question what does not make sense. The stupidity of Muhammad is intelligence, if you are a Muslim. Muhammad says stupid things, he is amazing still. Muhammad, he says something against history, against science, against, it's okay, Muhammad is genius. Don't ever dare to question Muhammad. And if you question, we kill you. As simple as that. And if you question, you leave Islam. As simple as that. But if you are asking questions, which is silly, as an example, brother, is it okay to eat ice cream with my fiancé? That is welcome question. Stupid question. Brother, is it okay to shave under my arm? That is a very good question. Brother, is it okay that I was having sexual intercourse with my wife and a drop of her milk drop in my mouth? Is she became a sister now? Those questions are very welcome. I remember once a Muslim woman, she called a Muslim TV station. I wish at that time I have a software to record or something. Obviously she is making fun of the sheikhs. She said, Salam alaikum, you know, like in a very feminine voice. The two sheikhs started drinking water like non-stop. Wa alaikum assalam, sister. She said, I have a question, please. Sure, sister. I'm very beautiful, and when I take off my clothes, shake in the front of the fish tank, my sister told me that the fish they start shaking. The sheikh, he look at the second sheikh, and the second sheikh look at the first sheikh, and they grab the water. Okay, sister. I think, sister, the first, Alhamdulillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, sister. First, sister, we advise you, sister, not to take off your clothes in the front of the fish tank, because those fish, they are a male genie and they are looking at a beautiful body. You should see the guy who was saying it. The woman, she said, okay, but this is the only room I have in the house. The guy, he said to her, okay, sister, he can't even talk no more. He said, okay, why you don't cover the fish tank with the blanket? Because, sister, those genie, they are looking at your body and doing something. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, the sister, she is calling, and millions of people watching the TV stations, satellite TV stations, telling them how beautiful, sexy she is, and the fish, brother, masturbating when they see her taking off her clothes. I mean, come on, put yourself in the shoes of those fish. You're a fish in a tank, and beautiful girl taking off her clothes in front of you. And the sheikh confirmed those fish are having a genie. They are male genie, not lesbian. You have to be honest here. He did not even think about lesbian fish. No. They are male genie, and they are looking at your beautiful, pure body, sister. And this crazy woman, she is making fun of them. You should see her voice, unbelievable. It's like a sex movie. I don't want to make the sound she is doing because it's embarrassment. This is what they do. Islamic TV programs. Question and answer. Brother, can my wife, when she is praying, show her toes? Brother, Prophet said, right away the sheikh is volunteering. He have an answer. Ask him how Allah sat in the chair. Don't ask. How Allah look like? Don't ask. Allahu Alam. How Allah go up and down? Allahu Alam. Any question, Allahu Alam. Ask silly question, all of them Alam. All of them, they have knowledge. But anyway, we learn things. If you are a person who have a fish at home, please take a note. Those fish are looking at your wife when she take off her clothes. I mean, come on. You don't want that to happen to you, do you? Hey, brother, I have a cat. Same. Muslims believe that genie can be inside anything and he have sex with Muslim women. If you search right now for sex with genie, you will find endless articles made by Muslims. You might think I'm joking. I'm not. Sex with jinn. Muhammad, he told them they have sex with you. So it's not like someone told him a jinn have sex with you. Look at this topic, man. Islamweb.net. The scholar, brother, differ about the opinion regarding human having sexual intercourse with genie. Some of them deny it, some of them confirm it. Anyway, brother, you should turn to Allah. Look, where is the answer? The answer yes or no? Stupidity is amazing. Oh boy. Okay. Let us see. Different website. Hold on. Can a jinn have sex with my wife? Look at this guy. This guy, he can't sleep. This guy, he woke up in the middle of the night. He went to the internet, and now he needs the question to be answered now by the sheikh. Can a jinn have sex with my wife? For sure she can have. I mean, look at her. I mean, come on, Abdul. Not only a jinn, he will invite his friends. Can a jinn have sex with my wives? And here he's quoting the hadith. The Prophet says, when a man have intercourse with his wife, and he does not say the name of Allah, the jinn coils around his urethra, around his penis, and do intercourse with him, beside him. This is hadith. Prophet saying so. If the Prophet, he says so, it's true. Al-Hakim al-Turmudi, hadith number Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, tafsir, blah 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 blah, narrated, blah blah blah, Mujahid said, blah 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 blah. When a man have intercourse and he don't say in the name of Allah, the genie, brother, the genie, he will round himself around your penis. The first condom can be recognized. Huh? Well, Black Dog, you contact Zakir Naik and ask him, Christian Prince is making fun of the genie having sex with the Muslim women. You let him answer us. Jinn can be human too? Ah, okay, jinn can be human too. Yeah, and can be angel. You know, your prophet, he have an angel, he came to him, it's called Al-Abyad, but he was a genie, right? And he was shaitan, alhamdulillah, and he gave him satanic verses. Yeah. What a messed up fiction, stupid religion. All perfect to Allah. So after a few days of this question and without proper answer, I decide to gather some reference, brother. Look at this frontier. Yes, the hadith is authentic. Okay, brother. So anyway, the conclusion, yes, your wife, she can be boomed by a genie. Actually, if you have my book, Sex and Allah, you will see a guy who opened the door of the bedroom and his wife, she was doing something. and he claimed, actually, I don't know which number is that. He claimed that he saw a fire around her, you know. Now, the sheikh, he told him, the reason there's a fire there, brother, because she is having sex with the genie. Have you ever heard of a woman's private part caught in fire? Because the Prophet says genie are made of fire. So that makes sense. The guy, he went there to have sex with this woman, and her bushes is dry. So he cut her bushes in fire. I better stop here, otherwise we might die laughing, and you guys will go crazy. So I want to say thank you for being here. May the Lord bless you. Don't forget to download the video. I don't keep it for long. Until we see you soon again. Christ is Lord. Islam is a dummy, made by the dummy. And as much you try to defend, as much you look like a dummy. Trust me on that. Watch all the videos we have before. And those who say debate me, call me next time I go. I'm already more than 4 hours here. Next time we go live on air, you're welcome to call me. And until we see you again, may the Lord bless you. Have a great time with your family, your friends. And don't forget to not to let your wife take off her clothes in front of the fish tank. It's dangerous. Take care. Warning time.